Yeah, I think I just add on to the bill and keep.
Failed to pay for a rented dumpster despite repeated promises. Now, according to the company, issue escalated, I guess so, when attempts to process payment were declined multiple times. Owner Martin Perez said the customer continued to delay payment, telling him that he would, quote, pay later or add funds to the card, never followed through. Added the company made several attempts to charge the card before deciding to retrieve the dumpster. Incident may have been disputed, but nearby Ring cameras captured the moment. The driver returned to collect the dumpster, only to find it filled with debris. Instead of hauling it away, the contents were dumped directly onto the driveway. A neighbor, which is identified as Mary, said the debris spilled partly onto the sidewalk but did not block the street. Said she initially believed the customer had already paid for the service before witnessing the driver unload the trash. Perez says taking the debris to a landfill would have cost the company hundreds more in dumping fees, adding to losses already incurred from pickup and delivery.
Yeah, but now does it not cost them more when I cite them with
littering?
Public endangerment, littering?
That's a good question there, because initially I'm on the side of the dumpster company here.
I am too, like the pettiness, but I think...
But if I'm the neighbor... Say you're the neighbor. Say this is your Ring doorbell.
Oh, I'd be so pissed.
I would be. Yeah. I'd be pissed at my neighbor.
You wouldn't be pissed at the dumpster company?
Yeah, I'd be pissed at a lot of people, but my neighbor is the one that has created this situation.
Well, I think
pay the bill.
I don't know if this is an HOA situation, but boy, the homeowners association, though, you talking about
I mean,
quite the eyesore.
It's on my neighbor to get this cleaned up. Now, whether you go punish the dumpster company or whatever, you're the one that created the situation. Pay the bill.
Yeah, okay, but the guy's not paying this bill already, so now what are you going to do to make him pay this bill?
I can't make him pay it, but I'm with Lance. If there's an HOA, I hope they're super aggressive on this. But put a lien on his house.
The dumpster company shouldn't be dumping it out on the street.
Well,
either.
I think what I would
but they don't have any recourse either.
No, what I would do is I just wouldn't pick his garbage up anymore. I'd put the dumpster back on the property, and then I would, actually take him to small claims court or whatever. And
so
then I would
you just
leave
put the dumpster full of trash back on his property.
Because how the hell is he going to get it off?
When the payment clears, we'll come pick it up now.
So I pay for the additional garbage can. I've got two, and I don't know why. I probably only use two like once every 2 months. But my neighbors will call and they'll be like, hey, we've got extra stuff. Can we unload it? And not long ago, I don't know what the hell they put in there. It might have been dead bodies. It was so much weight.
You couldn't get it up the driveway?
Well, no, it was already up the driveway. Yeah. But when Waste Management came to pick it up, they picked up my other and they just left that one there because it was too heavy.
Wow.
So I felt bad. I called neighbor and I was like, hey, man, I hate to do this to you, but there ain't nothing I can do with it.
Cinder blocks you put in there.
So I don't know how in the hell he got out, whatever he got out. I don't know where he put it, but they wouldn't even pick it up.
TVs?
No,
maybe?
I think it was, I think they had cleaned, they were doing some kind of renovation, and I just think it was a bunch of material, concrete.
How about Daniel? How about Daniel in the chat room here? I've had people dump trash in my construction dumpster. I find their mail and take the trash back to their house. That's pretty good. I like that.
I did a story out in Gadsden when I was at 3340 about illegal dumping, and that is how they find people. People are so stupid to not take their own mail out of the garbage that they're throwing out that the city will find their names in their mail and drive to their property.
I hate to say that I've done the illegal dumping in a dumpster, like dropped it off. But I've made sure that the name is removed
this
from any
was
kind
like
of packaging.
illegal dumping in a field.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you haven't done it recently, though. I mean, we got a dumpster right here in the park. Never miss anything from the next round when you listen on demand through the podcast platform of your choice. Apple, Spotify, iHeart, or Google Podcasts. Wherever you listen, always like, follow, subscribe, and turn on automatic downloads so you catch every part of the next round. Listen anywhere in the world at any time on the Next Round podcast feed and support the show by following, subscribing, and turning on automatic downloads on any podcast platform. Thanks for always making the Next Round a big part of your day. Catch up on all of today's Next Round on demand through the podcast platform of your choice. Apple, Spotify, iHeart, or Google Podcasts. Wherever you listen, always like, follow, subscribe, and turn on automatic downloads so you never miss any part of the Next Round.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation states that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers. Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor,
Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, welcome in. New week of the next round. You got me. Jimmy Dunaway is in 30A, or on 30A. I think 30A is a state of mind for Jimmy D, so he's in 30A. Lance Taylor, speaking of states of mind, is in Europe. Not even in our country, not even in our fine nation here. So vacation week for Lance and Dunaway. You'll have me and a lot of other people, including today, Justin Hokanson, who will talk Auburn spring game, Brooks Austin, who will talk Georgia spring game, and break down the film the way Brooks Austin always does, the film guy. And also Dusty Dvoracek from SiriusXM and ESPN. He was at Oklahoma's spring game. We'll talk about some other ones with him, but specifically Oklahoma's. So that's coming up in today's show. Thank you for joining us. We will get to you in the chat room. Heck, if you want to call the show, you can do that as well. 205-734-0923. That's 205-734-0923. The back room is here intact, and I believe will be all week. Tyler, Scott, and Brooks. Is everyone here all week? I should have asked that.
I assume so. I'm not planning on going anywhere.
Okay, so you're here. Scott, we got you all week. Brooks, we have you all week?
I'm here. I have no off days until my birthday. So.
Well, I don't know when your birthday is.
May 15th.
Okay. It's a long time. You'll learn, Brooks, you're fairly new here still. You'll learn I'm bad with birthdays. I don't know anybody's birthday.
Well, admittedly, Dunaway remembers the dates, but he doesn't
remember
the
who.
person.
He does remember we have a birthday.
Yeah,
he just doesn't remember who it is.
It was Scott's birthday when it was my birthday.
When it was your birthday. Actually, I don't even think he asked you. I think he told you, hey, it's Scott's birthday. We need to do something. And it was actually yours. So that just ruined the surprise for anything, right? So we got a lot to get to. That's good, as when Levy Breaks calls it the next Brown. This is not the next round. It's the next Brown. We'll workshop it. We'll see if we can make it better. We'll workshop it. Everybody have a good weekend, Tyler?
Yeah, my weekend was good.
How many total movies?
In theaters, 5, but in total 7.
Okay.
Watched 2 more at home.
2 more at home. Scott, how many kids events?
I witnessed one, and then I facilitated transportation to another.
How many miles worth of kids events? Better question.
Many. A lot.
And Brooks, how many people did you piss off on social media?
Quite a few.
Yes.
Just one fan base.
Just one fan base. It's the Indiana fan base, right?
Yeah.
That Indiana fan base is something else.
Dozens of people. Dozens of people.
No, Tyler. They have They have the largest alumni base in the country, and they'll let you know about it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they do like to tell you.
I'm just glad that the Vandy fans have chilled out.
Yeah, the Vandy fans, they're not after me anymore, Brooks?
Can you pick a fight with them again today?
Well, it just depends.
I don't know.
I mean, they weren't very happy you put Jared Curtis last in the quarterback ranking.
Well, he's never taken a snap in the SEC, as far as I'm aware. I had their coach 6th. What did I have their coach 6th, I think?
Yeah, and that actually bothered some other people because they wound up 6th in our composite ranking, and Tennessee fans were very upset about that.
Did we had him in front of Heupel?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there were some choice words affiliated with that, saying that Jerry Kill is really the only reason he's been good. So.
Well, Jerry Kill is a reason he's been good. I wouldn't say it's the only reason, but he is a reason. Jerry Kill can coach. All right, so we got a lot to get to today. A lot of spring games. We're about to hear from Alex Golesh, his thoughts on the Auburn spring game and the quarterback play specifically. That was one of the big stories coming out of that. So we'll hear what the Auburn coach has to say. It is part of our Shannara Spotlight. We spotlight college football every single day, and we frequently do it right here off the top. Tyler, if you will, the spotlight, please.
The College Football Spotlight
is presented by our guy, Alexander Shannara. Shannara.com. Shannara.com. When you find yourself in need of an attorney for any reason, you go to Alexander Shannara Trial Attorneys. You don't pay a dime unless they win your case. Alexander Shannara Trial Attorneys. Shannara.com, Shannara.com. He's recovered more than $2 billion for his clients, and he could do the same for you. Find out why with our guy, Alexander Shannara, Shannara.com, Shannara.com. All right, we get to the Auburn A-Day game. The Tigers I don't know, does anybody in the back room have any idea how this scoring system worked? It was a complicated scoring system. And according to Alex Golesh afterwards, the coordinators are arguing about who actually won the game based on the scoring system. Scott, have you seen how that worked? It was like they got points for certain things. Am I right about that?
I know they did, but I could not give you the breakdown of how they did all that. But I know there was some one of these sound bites. Golesh talks about the coordinators being pissed off about how some of that went down.
Yeah. It's one of those where you got points for certain things, right? It wasn't just like end zone gets you 6, field goal gets you 3.
So the format rewarded standard offensive points plus bonus points for first downs and explosive plays. So imagine an explosive play is usually defined as a 20-plus
20-plus, yeah.
While the defense earned points for stops, sacks, and turnovers.
Okay.
I hate it.
Well, I mean, it's a spring game, Brooks. We're not doing this in the regular season. I mean, this is not like a rule change.
I'm trying to remember. I want to say like Butch Jones did something like this at Tennessee, and it was like the score wound up being like it looked like a basketball score.
I think you generally do this. Just my opinion. We'll ask Hoke. Justin Hokanson is going to join us in the next segment. I'll ask Hoke, but I think you generally do this if you're concerned one side is going to dominate over another, and you don't want it to look too lopsided. Now, I could be wrong about that. But I think that's generally why you do this is like, either the defense is way ahead of the offense, which is pretty common in spring games, or the offense is way ahead of the defense, which will make people worry because normally the defense is way ahead. So you create a complicated scoring system so it doesn't show the flaw one side or the other. It's just my opinion. I've never coached a spring game. As Brooks mentioned, Alex Golesh talked after the game. So ultimately, spring game aside, it's the exhibition. It's the practices that matter, and that is what the new Auburn coaches asked. Did he get out of the practices what he wanted in spring?
Again, year one, half the guys are new. 90% of the guys are new to me. And so, man, how do we practice has been huge. Our intent with which we practice is huge. How do we run on and off the field? There was a couple times today, man, I'm like, that's how we're going to take the field? Well, because it's a spring game, that ain't how we take the field. You're still coaching those little things. These two coordinators are as competitive. Like Dirk's mad at me because the defense didn't score as many points as the offense. I'm like, man, I don't even know who scored what points. Like, Andrew Dvoracek came up with this stupid scoring system. And he's like, that was a pick six. I'm like, cool, like, line it up, let's go play ball. But so Dirk's mad. Joel's mad because he didn't know how many timeouts he had in the 2-minute drill. I'm like, who cares? Just go play ball, man. And but and I say it jokingly, but uber competitive staff. So they've made each other better. They've challenged each other. I've challenged both sides to continue to grow and evolve and be different. So I don't know. I really don't know. Did we get what we wanted? I do think we got schematically what we wanted. I do think from an intent and how to practice, we got what we wanted. There was enough hard that we handled well. There was enough hard that we handled like complete bullcrap, and we got to do better. But a lot of lessons that we learned. We're going to go into fall camp. We're going to know how to practice schematically. We're going to be where we want to be now. It'll be fine-tuning, truly fundamentally fine-tuning from a technique standpoint, and then going and growing from a situational football standpoint in every imaginable way.
So the quarterbacks, my neighbor told me they were going down to the spring game, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah. And ultimately, they really wanted to go to the spring game for one reason and one reason only, and that was to see Byrum Brown. Now, they went because they're Auburn fans. They enjoy going down there. I don't mean to indicate that was the only reason, but that was the main reason. I guess I should say the main reason. Byrum Brown, 7-14, 85 yards, no touchdowns, 2 picks. You're going to hear specifically what his coach said about this performance after the game, but you need only look at the numbers. 50% completion percentage for just 85 yards, no touchdowns and 2 picks to know it was not his finest day. The good news, I guess it's good news, bad news. Like, if you're an Auburn fan, you really wanted to see him play well. I get it. It's a spring game. It's your first chance to see him in an Auburn uniform. You wanted to see him play well. Bad news is he didn't. Good news is you have at least seen him play in games before, albeit at South Florida. And that was mostly good. There were some bad games, frankly, but that was mostly good at South Florida. So you've at least got a base. This is not like some true freshman that you pinned all your hopes on, and he goes out in the spring game and is a disaster. He went out in the spring game and he wasn't good, but you've at least got a base to say, all right, I've seen him play college football, and I think I know maybe what he can do. But here is his coach after the game. It was not a good day for Byrum Brown, and Alex Golesh is not going to try to sunshine pump that.
To be honest with you, I didn't think Byrum saw it great today, and I said it on the headset. I really didn't. Where his game has come in the last 15 practices, I thought he was efficient in what he had to do, but I didn't think he saw it great in the middle of the field. It's hard to move around. It's going to be quick whistled every time, but I thought, he missed the one, really the two deep balls early. He reset. He was fine in terms of mentally. He was fine. Composure-wise, he was fine, but I just didn't think he saw it great. The pick, man, he's usually able to kind of pop pass it over. Jared Smith is as long of a guy as you'll ever see. There was a hell of a play by him, and that's two guys that have seen each other for 15 practices over and over again, and just part of it. But I'm not worried about that piece of it. I thought he was efficient. I just didn't think he saw it great today.
Excuse me, I turned my mic off to call. Didn't see it great today. That is Alex Golesh. Didn't see it great. And, I mean, look, when you're 7-14, 85 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 picks, I think that kind of goes without saying you probably didn't see it great today. So it was not a good day for Byrum Brown. I mean, nobody's going to pretend that it was. Is this a disaster for Auburn? No, this is a spring game for Auburn. So I don't think it is by any means time to pull the alarm and say, oh, my gosh, this transfer is not going to work. You're going to have to give this some time and see how it works out when there are actual live bullets flying. It's a spring game. It wasn't great for Byrum Brown, and the first time you got to see him in an Auburn uniform. But there again, as I said, it was at South Florida. That does have to be pointed out, but you have at least seen the guy play some football before. This is not the first time he's ever been on the field. Last thing from Alex Golesh, just kind of his, I guess, parting thought on where this Auburn team is leaving spring and what that means for the upcoming college football season in 2026. So kind of where would he say this is where the Auburn team is?
Ultimately, I told these guys after the game, man, if we can stay together, stay connected, continue to build a level of trust within that locker room, we've got a chance to have a good football team. If in any way, shape, or form we splinter and don't come together, then it'll be an average squad. Our talent is going to be the floor of where we are, and then the level of trust we build in that locker room, the level of trust they build in the coaches build in them and their daily process. We have a long, long way to go. These first 4 months was laying a foundation for what. And culture is such an overused word, but what our identity is, what the culture in that locker room is, the day-to-day of how these guys treat each other, how they love on each other. It's the biggest challenge in college football we have right now is to build a team really, really quickly. But I do love this group. They're intentional in what they do. They've worked some highs, some lows through spring. They've answered the bell in the regard that every time I've asked them to do something, they've done it. We've asked to turn it up. They've turned it up. We've asked for more attention to detail. They've paid more attention to detail. Up until this point, they've done what we've asked them to do.
Our talent is the floor was kind of the takeaway on that. And I want to talk more about that in a moment because I do think that's an interesting way of approaching it. And I want to circle back to quarterbacks as well because our buddy Matt Hayes writes today for USA Today, the SEC's most important position is suddenly its biggest strength. Where does Byrum Brown, and for that matter, whatever quarterback is starting at Alabama, where do they fall in this discussion? As Matt Hayes at USA Today says, the biggest strength in the SEC this year is quarterbacks, signal callers. So we'll discuss that in light of Byrum Brown's day at 8 a.m. as spring ball wraps up throughout the Southeastern Conference. We'll do that after a couple of sponsors that bring you the show today. One of those, Urology Centers of Alabama. Your urological health is absolutely critical. So whether it is a vasectomy for men, whether it is, just anywhere in your urological tract, kidney stones, things like that, Urology Centers of Alabama can help you. Make an appointment today, 930-0920, 930-0920, of course. That is a 205 area code. And UrologyCentersAlabama.com. UrologyCentersAlabama.com to take care of your urological health with Urology Centers of Alabama, and Lance tells us about Hoover Toyota.
Hey, if you're in the car buying market, you need to check out our friends at Hoover Toyota, conveniently located Highway 150. Beautiful location. I have purchased 2 cars in the last year plus. Got my daughter that RAV Christmas of 2024 back in October. I got in the Land Cruiser. We're absolutely loving our Toyotas. When you look at reliability, safety, something that holds its value, it is the Toyota. And Hoover Toyota, their inventory offers a fantastic selection. Their on-site finance department provides affordable financing options. Even after the keys to your new vehicle are in your hands, they are there to serve you with the service and parts department, committed to keeping your vehicle running smoothly. When you shop with Hoover Toyota, they want to keep you as a customer for life. That's why they offer that red carpet program. To view their inventory and great pricing, go online today, hoovertoyota.com.
All right, so Matt Hayes, USA Today, writes that quarterback is the most loaded position in the Southeastern Conference. It is the biggest strength of the SEC is quarterbacks, the signal callers. He has at the top, which I think most people have, Brooks, I believe we had Arch Manning at the top. Am I correct on that? Was that our consensus?
Yes, and I want to say you had Byrum Brown higher than any of the other two, maybe like number 5.
Uh-huh. I also had this guy higher, Sam Levitt. I think I was higher on him than most.
You had him number 1.
I had him number 1, did I not? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Matt Hayes has him number 2, and I think I remember a lot of people look how quick Scott is. I remember a lot of people saying, how on earth would you have Sam Levitt number 1? Well, I mean, he's got him number 2. Y'all get on Matt Hayes too. So you see, we all are big appreciators of Arch Manning. I am more of an appreciator of Sam Levitt than most. Gunnar Stockton, number 3, according to Matt Hayes. Marcel Reed, number 4. I feel that's a bit too high for Marcel Reed. Number 4, I had Reed much lower than that, number 7. Trinidad Chambliss, number 5. That was the guy that was all over the board for us. Lance had him number 1. I had him number 3. Dunaway had him number 2. Byrum Brown, number 6. And let me read what this says about Byrum Brown. USF transfer will be a big problem for SEC defenses. Against Florida in week 2 last year, when the Gators defense was healthy and nasty, he had 329 total yards, 66 of those on the ground, led a huge upset. But the USF offensive line in 2025 was light years ahead of the Auburn offensive line. Let me read that again. The USF offensive line in 2025 was light years ahead of the Auburn offensive line. That is a startling sentence to read out loud. And then he says Auburn's offensive line will have 4 new transfer starters in 2026. So there's Byrum Brown. Real quick, I'll just touch on Keelan Russell. He's got John Mateer number 7, Keelan Russell number 8. Talented thrower who will compete with Austin Mack for the starting job. Both probably should have played more last season, but couldn't because Alabama wasn't putting away teams early. If you're a believer in Coach Kalen DeBoer and offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb's quarterback development over the years at Alabama and Washington, and why wouldn't you be? This could get real interesting real quick with Russell's obvious skills. That's one man's opinion. That is Matt Hayes, USA Today. But that's what he says about where he finds Auburn and Alabama and what he calls the best position in the SEC, the quarterback position. Let me just give you some feedback from the chat room. And people ask me frequently, hey, how can I get in the chat room? It's right there on YouTube or wherever you're watching. Anywhere you're watching's got a chat room. Just a response on Twitter, Facebook, chat room on YouTube. You can do any of those. Did I leave one out? Oh, Rumble. You can do it in Rumble too, right?
Yeah, you can send a Rumble chat our way.
Yeah, a Rumble chat. Like you could talk about the Israeli-Palestine conflict on one video and us on the next, right?
Yeah,
that's kind of what you get at Rumble.
Censorship-free on Rumble.
Yeah, that's right. All right, here we go. Charles, your defense isn't supposed to score more than your offense. He's talking about the complicated scoring system that apparently the coaches are arguing about. I would say just this time of year, I feel like generally defense is in front of offense in spring ball. That's just my opinion, though. Landmine believer, I said when he transferred, he's talking about Byrum Brown here, being Byrum Brown. When Byrum Brown transferred, he will be an average SEC quarterback, which is better than Thorne or Arnold, which is true, and that is a kind of a sad statement. But they beat Alabama and Tuscaloosa 2 years ago if Byrum Brown wasn't inaccurate as hell. I need to go back. Brooks, could you go back to that game? What was that, 2023? Can you find Byrum Brown's line for me in that game? South Florida at Alabama in 2023.
I think it was 24, actually. The 23 game was when Saban had that awful hair down there.
Oh, when they got caught in the rainstorm?
And Jalen Milroe got benched.
Yeah, they got caught in the rainstorm, and Milroe did not play in that game. Well, that was that was one of the lower points of the Saban era right there. Yeah, so if you could look up 24 real quick and just let me know what he did.
Ran like crazy, but 15 of 35 for 103 yards, but also rushed for 108 yards on 23 carries. USF was what was the
USF
score?
was leading that game in the fourth quarter. Now the final score is not indicative of the way that game was played.
14-13 going into the fourth quarter, and then Alabama was up by a point. Alabama outscored them 28-3 in the fourth quarter.
So it was 14-13 Alabama in the fourth quarter.
Correct.
All right, so USF trailed by 1. All right, so let me correct myself on that one. They did not lead. They trailed by 1 in the fourth quarter. So that final score is not really indicative of that game. But what did you say, 15 of 35?
Yes.
Yeah. So that backs up what Len, my believer, said. That is, I would call that inaccurate as hell, 15 of 35. So there you go. Big Ten champ reading ahead in the script. We've got this video. He asked, did you all see the parachutist coming in for the Virginia Tech spring game on Saturday? Well, indeed we did. And we just so happen to have the video. Scott's got the video right now, you, Tyler, because there's no sound that goes with it. Scott's got the video. Okay, here we go. Parachutist coming in. We've got a scoreboard here. We'll get to that in a moment. I don't know that impacted what happens here. It appears we've got, based on the way the American flag is blowing, wind is blowing at the scoreboard, and the parachutist is going to the scoreboard and gets stuck on said scoreboard and looks like, I don't know how hard he hit that. Like it would have seemed like a much harder hit, like if the screen is screwed up. You know how if something hits your TV screen and it screws it up? That would have been pretty bad if like there's a screwed up part of the Jumbotron in the shape of this guy's body.
Oh, yeah, there's just like a dead pixel
Yeah,
shape.
but, it's in the shape of his body.
Yeah. Chalk outline.
Yeah, what do you got, Scott?
If we're questioning how hard the impact was, take a look at this angle.
Oh, we got a better angle here. So
of the impact. This looks like it does not feel good.
Oh, yeah, he hits it pretty hard. You're right. That is far harder than I thought he hit it. I mean, I don't know how fast you're going in a parachute. Like I parasailed one time down at the beach, and it is not as fast as it appears from land. Like I thought there was going to be a much, better sense of motion there, and you're just kind of hanging in the air. So I've never parachuted, but yeah, he hits that pretty hard. Wow.
You see the debris.
Yeah,
that comes
is that like lettering or something that comes off? Yeah, so he hits it hard enough that as you said, there is debris that actually comes off the scoreboard.
Yeah, I think part of the E ate it there.
Yeah,
and the top of the C.
Yeah,
I don't know if Scott wound up pulling that photo or not, but I feel like if he falls, he's just dangling there. Like from the one angle, you assume he just falls into the crowd.
Yeah, you would be incorrect in that assumption, though.
There is a road that runs between the stadium and the Jumbotron. I've actually been there. I walked right out of their stadium. I went up there for drone school when I was at 3340.
Right.
And, that's actually within the gates of their practice facility.
So the scoreboard's basically across the street. So if he falls, he doesn't just fall down among the stands.
He's going splat on the road.
Yeah, but he falls on the road. And he's already used his parachute, so there's nothing to stop him.
There are points on that fence, too. It's like little spikes.
Yeah, it's almost like a military institution, right? So we got points on the fence.
And the little green reserve chute went out, too.
Yeah.
So.
Boy, that is scary, man. Does anybody, I'm older than you guys. Scott, you would not have been working at this time because I was in college. But Alabama went to Mississippi State one year, and it was a late kick already. It was like I want to say almost 8 o'clock sounds like too late for a college kick, or 8:15, but I think it was 8:15. And the game got delayed because one of the guys either hit the goalpost, his parachute hit the goalpost and it screwed him up and he slammed down into the field, or he just came into the field too hard or something like that. It was like the 96. I think it was Gene Stallings last year. 96 Alabama, Mississippi State. I think the guy clipped the goalpost, but I don't remember the story entirely. And somebody in the chat room might have been at the game. I was not. I just remember.
I don't remember that one.
But I think it delayed the game. Like, I don't think the game started until like 8:30 or 8:45, and it went late into the night.
Didn't somebody like parasail into like a Holyfield fight one time?
They parasailed into the condo, right? Didn't we have video of that? Like the wind caught the parasail, and they couldn't. It was like this crazy wind couldn't stop them. They end up hitting the condo or something.
Yeah, I remember.
Well, I
that
think
video.
Brooks is talking about the guy who like actually went into the ring.
Yeah, he like flew under an awning. It was like an outdoor
in a boxing match. Yeah, it was an outdoor at Vegas. I do remember that. He had like a parachute and a fan. Yeah, he had one of those fans
And
behind
he
him.
almost flew into the ring.
No, he did. I do remember that as well. So there you go. There's our video to start the day. Terrible situation. I think everybody's okay though, right? I think they got the guy down fine. Probably a brave member of our military who did not count on hitting a scoreboard. And I can understand why. All right, Culver's brings you part of the show today. If you want to celebrate a win or just forget any loss, Culver's can help you do that. Culver's, welcome to Delicious. They've got 2 great Birmingham locations where you can go get that butter burger and celebrate your win. You can get those crispy crinkle-cut fries, the gooey gouda cheese curds, that great frozen custard to end any meal the right way. You can do all of that at Culver's. When in Birmingham, make sure you hit the Culver's on Stadium Trace out near the Hoover Met, just off Highway 150, or Highway 280 down near Greystone at Tattersall Park, the 2 great Birmingham locations of Culver's. Welcome to Delicious, and Lance tells us about Odie's.
If you're looking for a great local lunch or dinner, stop in to Odie's Tavern. 2 locations, the original in Crestline, where we do Odie's Team Trivia every Wednesday night. Newer location right there in Edgewood on Broadway in Homewood. Get in, see Will Haver and that great staff. Enjoy food from Rodney Davis. Been doing it almost 4 decades now. Inside or outside, you can enjoy the great weather, live music every Friday and Saturday nights. From the Diablo sandwich, the great burgers, the wings. Get in today, though. Go see Will Haver and that great staff. Birmingham Institution. It's Odie's Tavern.
Follow LT on Twitter at @TheLanceTaylor.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Sterling and the fine folks at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster want to welcome you in for a great lunch or dinner starting at 11 a.m. every day. Chicken that's brined overnight and cooked to order, and the taste of the Delta with those Delta recipe tamales. Champy's is perfect for all your tailgating needs this football season. You can also choose Champy's for your next party, wedding, or birthday. Great food, great people. Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster, and everything online at champyschicken.com.
At Central State Bank, we are large enough to serve you and small enough to know you. Manage your money with ease, whether it's mobile banking, hassle-free checking, competitive loans, business solutions, or personalized financial advice. We're your hometown bank with big-time service. Visit us today and experience banking made simple, because at Central State Bank, you come first.
Member FDIC.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from The Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie-cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
Birmingham, get ready to pregame with the Birmingham Legion FC at the Coca-Cola Soccer Block Party May 7th from 2 to 6 at Protective Stadium. Bring the whole family for music, giveaways, and tons of family football fun for free from 2 to 6 May 7th at Protective Stadium. After the party, the Birmingham Legion FC takes on Miami FC with kickoff at 7 o'clock. Tickets for the match are available at bhmlegion.com. Come kick it at Protective May 7th with the Birmingham Legion FC and enjoy ice-cold Coca-Cola because fan work is thirsty work.
When you think of Birmingham, it's hardworking people that go out each and every day to provide for their families, and that's how we want our team and our play on the field. Join us April 18th as we take on the Orlando Storm. United we ride.
Ain't no party like a Dega party. The noise, the chaos, the will to survive. The biggest, boldest, brashest, fastest, and most intimidating track in all of NASCAR. Only one place calls that home. At Talladega, anything can happen. And at this super speedway, everything usually does. Hell yeah, boys! NASCAR weekend at Talladega Super Speedway, April 24th through the 26th. Get your tickets now at TalladagaSuperspeedway.com.
All right, Justin Hokanson going to talk Auburn spring game with us just a moment. On 3 is where you find Hoke. A reminder, our friends at Kalshi, your place to go as we approach college football season, just 131 days away. You'll be able to play the college football games there. But in the meantime, how about the NBA postseason? The NBA champion, Oklahoma City, 50% right now at Kalshi. San Antonio at 17%, Boston at 15%. You can play all of that at Kalshi. It is absolutely 100% legal in every single state, all 50 states. Kalshi is legal, so you can play right there with the Kalshi. And we always encourage you to get the Kalshi app, but you can play at Kalshi.com or the Kalshi app and use code TNR. Code TNR gets you $10 on your first $10 position with our friends at Kalshi. Kalshi.com or the Kalshi app, code TNR to get $10 on your first $10 position. All right, let's talk some Auburn football as they were out on the field for the spring game over the weekend. Justin Hokanson on 3 at Jay Hokanson on Twitter is where you find him. What's up, Hoke? How are you today, buddy?
I'm good. Sorry I look like a mess. I literally just came in from the gym, so apologize.
You look fine. You look fine. No apologies needed. So that's a flex. I like the fact that what'd you do at the gym? Did you just run a little, throw around the weights?
Yeah, a little iron tribe, some power and box jumps and pull-ups and all the good stuff.
Iron tribe, one of those, huh? How long you been doing iron tribe?
2 years. I did CrossFit for a while and then took a few years off and then got back into iron tribe, which I love. Shout out to them. There's a bunch in Birmingham. I've been to some of the ones in Birmingham as well. It's a great group of people.
Yeah, man, they work your tail off there too, though, don't they? As is evidence. No, you look fine, man. Don't apologize. I like it. I like the flex. I like Hoke coming in off Iron Tribe. Look, anytime you've got a spring game, and you've got a new quarterback or 2 new quarterbacks in this case, that is always going to be the focus. And Alex Golesh did not sugarcoat it after the game. He said it point blank. Byrum Brown did not see the field well, and he made some mistakes. It was certainly not his best day for Byrum Brown in the spring game.
No, and that's fair. So I saw a lot of the reaction to Byrum's game, and a lot of Auburn fans were saying don't overreact. You go back and look at Cam's spring game; he was 3 of 8. I mean, we know spring games; that's not indicative. But it is also fair to point out that Golesh was very straight up. He was like, I didn't think he saw it well today. So I think it's okay to sort of piggyback on what Golesh said and admit that Byrum didn't have a great day, but not go so far as to overreact and say he's going to be terrible or something because he went, I don't even know, 7 of 14,
yeah,
whatever.
7 of 14, 85 yards, no touchdowns, 2 picks. And the 2 picks that'd be the most concerning, obviously.
I thought one pick was great play by Jared Smith. You could maybe say, you can't just throw right into his vicinity, but Jared Smith made a really nice play, sat down, jumped, tipped it, caught it. The second pick was a bad throw. He just didn't have his feet set. He sidearmed and missed a guy 6 yards in front of him, threw wide of him. I would say about Byrum, the thing that we don't know, that we're not going to know until we watch Baylor. And then even past that, we're not going to know until we watch SEC games, is how does his overall ability, how does his athletic ability translate into the SEC versus what he played? I do think he's a gamer. I do think he's a guy that needs to run and get hit, and that needs to be a part of his game. When you take that away, it does mess with him a little bit. I mean, there's a couple of times where he ran that would have been first downs or 20-yard gain, and so offensively, that I think taking that away affects him a tad bit. And so some of that you're just not going to know how that translates until you get into the season. And so I would say go off what Golesh said. Didn't have a great day, but don't go so far as to think he's not going to be a good quarterback or a successful quarterback.
I was reading a moment ago, Matt Hayes, USA Today, wrote of Byrum Brown that he's going to be a problem for SEC coordinators, that he played well at South Florida. But he pointed out that his line last year at South Florida was better than the offensive line Auburn had, which can be a hard truth. And look, I'm no offensive line genius, so I'm not going to sit here and break them down. But we know offensive line was an issue at times. Based on what you've seen this spring, how far have they come on the offensive front?
I didn't think they looked bad Saturday. I mean, I don't know that I came away thinking, dang, that group's dominating, but they weren't. I thought there was some running lanes. I thought there was some room to run at times that was encouraging. If you take into account Stanton Ramel is not out there, you think if he gets healthy, he has got a great shot to be. I mean, you brought him in to be a starting tackle. So that's one guy that could be in there as a starter. You've got a center that came over from USF that knows the calls, knows what to do, has a relationship with Byrum. That will help. Joe Simmons, I thought, played well at a tackle spot. I think that group has got a chance. That's a group that can't waste a day. I mean, they need all the time to develop. I have heard good things though about Tyler Hudnick and that offensive line coaching staff in terms of their ability to coach. Even some chatter from people that were around the program last year that think this group is an absolute upgrade. Not to throw shade at anybody, it just is what it is. That they think Hudnick and his group is doing a very good job of coaching these guys, developing these guys, and I mean, you got to have that chemistry when you're talking about an offense that runs as fast as them. I mean, there were some times in that A-Day where they were flying. I mean, you couldn't even figure out who caught the ball before they're up on the ball for the next play. So that's going to be a huge factor as well when you talk about developing these guys. Is they've got to be such a unit that you're back up on the line and that communication's so perfect that you can run at the tempo they want to run at. But, Golesh said, I feel better today than I did a month ago. That's a good thing. He doesn't seem like one to sugarcoat anything so far. When we've talked to him throughout the spring, I think he's pretty honest. So when he says, hey, they're better than they were a month ago, I take that as a good sign. You get somebody like Stanton back in the mix, and I think they're moving in the right direction.
You got to throw to somebody, no matter who the quarterback is. And Deshaun Spencer had a good spring game. He is a freshman. I don't know that they anticipated leaning that heavily on a freshman, or they are anticipating, I guess I should say, leaning that heavily on a freshman at receiver. But the one game we get to see him, in action, he looked really, really good. Would look like Auburn's best receiver Saturday, at least.
Yeah, I mean, he's got. When you watch him, you're like, you see a little bit of the athletic ability that it takes to get open in the SEC and to make something happen after the catch in the SEC. Like, you see that. He's just got to get bigger, probably. But no, he's got some ability, and we've heard his name the last 2 weeks, really. I heard his name maybe the second scrimmage. He was making plays, and then I asked Golesh about him a week and a half ago, and he's brought him up multiple times, and then he goes out there and has a really good game, and you see some ability. I think he's worked himself into being potentially an important part of that crew. Keyshawn Singleton's got to be an important part. Of course, he didn't start the A-Day game. That was really interesting, by the way. I mean, he's the best receiver that came over from USF, and he does something to not even start. And Golesh didn't shy away at all after the game. Straight up said, "Yeah, that was my decision. He's like my stepson, but I'm going to punish him with playing time if you're not going to do what you're supposed to do. The standard's the standard." So I thought that was kind of an interesting, already early sort of litmus test. But Keyshawn Singleton's a big part of it. Chaz Nimrod's a guy that I think is really good. He was banged up the last week of spring, so could be, he didn't have necessarily a big impact on Saturday, but that's a guy that's going to have an impact. And Koger, but you need more than three. And I think Spencer has that athletic ability that like just his pure ability could be as good as anybody on the team. I mean, right now, I remember when they got him, Marcus Davis was still at Auburn when he landed. And I asked Marcus, because he was, he switched from Duke. And I was like, how good is this guy? And Marcus was like, dude, he's the real deal. Like he's an absolute sleeper type prospect. So yeah, I think he's a legitimate player. I don't think he's a flash in the pan of what he could be.
Real quick before we move on from quarterback, I mean, Byrum Brown is the unquestioned starter. Nobody's going to question that. But you did have to look for some depth there. And I think they like what they saw in Tristian Ti'a. I've got his numbers here. 15 of 20, 179, a touchdown and a pick. So, I mean, at least your backup on a day where your starter probably didn't have his best day, you at least looked at the backup and like, okay, you've got some depth perhaps there.
Yeah, I thought he looked good. I thought he made quick decisions. I thought he was sharp throwing the football. I thought he looked good. And he's a guy that when they got him out of the portal, I remember asking somebody and they were like, that's 100%, that's quarterback too. And that's a dude with an up. We're getting that guy. We think he's got a really nice upside. I think he's just played 1 year. So yeah, I mean, I think you like what you saw there. I think that's a good, obviously Byram's only there for a year. So when you start thinking ahead, if Tristian Ti'a has got that kind of potential, some quick decision-making, a good skill set, you feel like, all right, that's a guy that we can build on. And then we also recruit, right? Bring in high school in, maybe go after another portal guy, but having at least one guy that if you're thinking about next year that you feel like you can hold on to and then build the quarterback room versus a situation where Byrum left and you don't know what you have and you feel like you have to rebuild the whole room. I thought he showed some good stuff in that game for sure.
Every time I say Byrum Brown is only there one more year, I do at least say we think, because in the NCAA today you never know. I mean, but you're right. I mean, he right now only has 1 year of eligibility left, but who knows in the NCAA. I mean, there is this debate about what they do with these guys that are playing their final year of eligibility or have just ended their eligibility if they do pass this 5 years to play 5 years. That in college football, that could be a pretty big impact. Like if a guy has just finished his 4th year, I don't know when they think that legislation may pass. But if it were to pass, there's talk that those guys might get that extra year. They might get grandfathered in. So you never really know anymore, do you?
No, you don't. I've tried to. It's like predicting portal commitments and stuff. You're like, listen, I don't know what to tell you. Auburn's in good shape. It could change in an hour. It's like, who knows?
Some defense after Jim Dunaway reminds us about NASCAR coming back to the Talladega Superspeedway this week.
It's time to go racing again. Over in Talladega, the Jack Links 500 weekend is coming up Friday, April 24th through Sunday, April 26th. The big race, the Jack Links 500, is that Sunday with all the Cup superstars on the world's fastest speedway. Exciting, unpredictable. That's what you always get with the biggest stars of NASCAR when they come to Talladega again for the Jack Links 500. And you can get your tickets right now by going to the TalladegaSuperspeedway.com, TalladegaSuperspeedway.com, or buy your tickets calling 877-GO-TO-DEGA. That's 877-462-3342. And don't forget to add on to your experience with the most immersive garage experience in NASCAR. That features access to the NASCAR Cup Series Garage Bay viewing areas, pre-race ceremonies, driver questions and answer sessions, and of course, Mobile One Victory Lane trophy and photos. You'll be up close and personal for all the action. It's Jack Links 500 weekend at Talladega coming up Sunday, April the 26th. Buy your tickets right now at 877-GO-TO-DEGA or TalladegaSuperspeedway.com.
All right, Justin Hokanson continues with us on 3 and at _Jay Hokanson. At _Jay Hokanson is where you find him on social media. Let's talk quickly about the defense. I think most Auburn fans went into this game. I mentioned earlier my next-door neighbor, huge Auburn fan, was like, I just want to go see Byrum Brown play. I think most people showed up like, I may not know every single name on the defense, but I know DJ Durkin's name. I trust DJ Durkin. He's going to put a quality defense out there.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Like Durkin's one of those coaches that you feel like you trust that you have a pretty good idea of the product that's going to go out there, whether they're, wherever they're at. He's one of those coaches that's a good coach, knows the system, knows how to call it, and you just feel like I'm going to get a decent defense. Like worst case, they're not going to be terrible. And so I think, and you've heard Golesh talk about that this spring. He's been like, it's funny. I mean, compared to last spring when you wanted to cater and coddle Jackson Arnold, you hear Golesh this spring like, dude, he's throwing everything at us, and I love it. Like it should be so hard this spring, like for us. And he's like, it has been at times. They've thrown a bunch of stuff at us, and we just got to deal with it on the offensive side of the ball. And so I thought they played well. I mean, when you have Xavier Atkins and Elijah Melendez back, that's a huge deal right there in the middle. Those guys have played well. You've got some safeties back, whether it's Champ Anthony or Caleb Harris or Sylvester Smith, Fagans, Winters. So like right up the middle, even Dallas Walker as a nose tackle, even Malik Autry, Jordan Crawford, like right up the middle, you've got a lot of guys back. Jared Smith's got a ton of potential, right? He was 8A defensive MVP. If he can keep getting better and sort of start to reach what he's capable of, he could be fantastic with his length. His length is impressive. Like he's just got to get the experience. To me, the question is the corners. Andre Jordan, good player, right? Blake Woodby is coming off a freshman year. Gavin Jenkins came over from South Florida. It looks like maybe that's kind of the three guys that are going to start. And then you've got Rayshawn Pleasant back. But cornerback is kind of where I'm looking, I would say. And I don't know exactly how good that group is. Like, at times Jay Crawford could lock you down. Like at times Kay Lee could run with somebody. What do you get with those guys? Or can Gavin Jenkins, can Andre Jordan, can some of these guys hook up, and can Rayshawn Pleasant get better? Like that's probably the biggest question mark. I'm not super concerned about safety, linebacker, or even in the interior, because I trust Vontrell King Williams. Like he's a really good coach, and so I trust that they'll be able to hold their own on the defensive line. Cornerback is like where I'm looking, is going, what exactly do they have there, and can they stop teams from completing a high percentage of passes? Do you have a guy that can be a shutdown, or a couple of guys that can be tough to throw against?
It's the forgotten part of that interview that Hugh Freeze did with us out at the Regions, because everybody focused so much on him saying that Auburn had to get bowl eligible.
Oh, yeah,
that they missed the part you referenced, which was also in that same interview, where he said he's had to tell DJ Durkin to take it easy on Arnold. Well, you're right. I mean, Arnold was a little bit coddled, and Hugh was being serious about that too. He wasn't kidding. He was being serious that I've had to tell DJ to take it easy on Jackson and, not throw too much at him. And we left that interview like, dude, I mean, he's an SEC quarterback, and at some point you're going to have to see something, right?
Yeah, like the thought. Yeah, I think what he said was, I want my quarterback to leave every practice.
That's right. That was it.
And so you're like, well, yeah, I mean, yeah, in a perfect world, yeah, that'd be great. But you can't do it to the detriment of the development of your offense, and you can't do it by holding the defense back. It's like trying to get a player better, and you're throwing out, you're like, I want my 7-foot center to be confident leaving practice, so I'm going to let him post up against guys that are 6'5". It's like, well, that's great, but I mean, he's not going to play 6'5" guys in a game. So what are we doing?
Yeah.
So, I think honestly, that's something that'll help this offense going against Durkin every day this spring.
Yeah, I honestly had forgotten that part of the interview too until you referenced that. But yeah, that's what Hugh said. I want my quarterback to leave feeling good every day, basically. Mm-hmm. And everybody was like, "What are we talking about here?" Not to speak ill of the departed, but that was what Hugh Freeze was saying at this point last year. So, final takeaway: what as you leave spring practice, you won't see this team again until August. And I thought it was interesting. Golesh, you've got the video, I think, on your social media. It's been out there a lot, where he tells them, "Don't waste a blinking day. You've got all summer. Don't waste a day." I mean, I think he realizes the urgency here that they're behind the eight ball. When you replace a fired coach, you're a little bit behind the eight ball in the SEC, and there's no time to rest.
Yeah, I would agree. The takeaway, spring is hard. I think the most important thing this spring was more about setting standards in the culture than, yes, it's putting in the system, because you have a new system, right? So yes, it's that. Yes, it's sort of getting everybody acclimated, but I feel like the most important part is setting the standard and the expectations, because you got 60 new players, you got some guys back. I mean, it is a completely rebuilt team. And so you got to set the expectation right away about what is acceptable, what is not on and off the field. This is how we practice. This is what I expect every period to feel like. This is the energy level I expect. Like that stuff's got to be ingrained right away so that you're not in the fall. You don't get to the fall and have some bad practices where you're going, hold on, where did you guys think that this is acceptable? Like you need to roll into the summer and then roll into the fall, and there's no equivocation about what the expectations are. So I think that's probably the biggest part of the spring. We heard Golesh talk about them making strides in that direction, but still not quite there in terms of where he wants them to be. But everything we heard from players, both new and old, was they love the energy level, they love the intensity. So, obviously it can be rhetoric or it can be the real deal. We'll see. But I do like what I heard from the guys in terms of that, in terms of what they're about, and sort of the energy. Because really, you have a whole new set of coaches. You have a handful of guys back, and then you have a ton of new guys, ton of transfers, ton of freshmen. There's not a lot of carryover from last year's disappointment or the year before's disappointment.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a handful of guys on defense, but they were pretty good on defense. There's a lot of the offensive guys left. There's not a lot of carryover in terms of like negative energy. It's a lot of, I think, positive energy. So you take that and you roll with it. And I think that's the most important thing. It sounds like they made strides, but they're not quite where they want to be, as Golesh said.
All right, quickly before you go, Auburn added another player out of the portal today, Owen Freeman, the 6'10" player out of Creighton. So by my count, that's now 2 7-footers and a 6'10" guy. So if nothing else, it's a very big portal for Auburn. It's a very tall portal. They are coming out tall in the portal headed Auburn right now.
No, that's no question. They knew. I mean, if you go look at Auburn's run to the Final Four when you had Dillon and Janai and even Chaney. Go look at last year. Look at the teams that dominated: Michigan or Arizona or Purdue or like length and height and big front court. You have to have it, and it didn't happen last year for Auburn. Keyshawn Murphy should have been a 4. He shouldn't have been the 5. And so there's zero question Auburn in the offseason was like, we have to attack the front court. And yeah, you go get Narcisse from France, who's a 7-footer, who's got a bunch of upside. Not exactly sure what he'll be, but a potential good player. Buki from Santa Clara, I think that's your starting 5, in my opinion. Then you get Owen Freeman, who's a 6'10" forward center. Honestly, he might not even start. I mean, he could be the backup at the 5 and the 4, depending if Sebastian Williams-Adams does indeed come back. There's some sort of, we'll see if he actually comes back or what he does. But Owen Freeman could be a guy that's a former Big East preseason player of the year, a former freshman of the year in the Big Ten that could be a bench player. He could be coming off the bench at those 2 positions at 6'10". So I think it's really smart for Auburn to attack the front court. Now you've got to go get a wing player to replace Elijah Freeman that's 6'6" or so. And then you're going to have Tahad and Kevin Overton are going to play the majority of the minutes at guard. You need to go find some depth at guard, but Tahad and KO are going to carry the mantle there. They're going to play most of the minutes. But yeah, they had to attack the front court. And I think now you look at it and you've got a situation where at any point you've probably got a 7-footer and you potentially have a 6'10" guy on there on the court at all costs. And I told our board this. Rim protection's the key. Like, you're not going to have a bunch of Denver Jones. If you can have a bunch of those guys, fine. If you get rim protection, you don't have to be elite guarding the perimeter on defense. You don't have to be, just don't be terrible. But guys are going to be hesitant to drive if you've got a 6'10" and a 7-footer down there hanging out. So that's the key. It's not necessarily, can I go get another Denver Jones out there to play defense? Can I get rim protection so that if I get beat on the perimeter, it's not going to be just some easy layup. People aren't just going to be freely attacking the rim. And I think that's what they're trying to solve.
All right, you can get more like that on both football and basketball from Justin Hokanson, Auburn On 3, part of On 3 Sports, @_J Hokanson on Twitter, @_J Hokanson. Hoke, thank you for joining us, man. Have a great week. Always good to catch up.
Absolutely, man. Thanks. Have a good one.
All right, buddy. Take care. Hokanson with us on the Alexander Shinara Trial Attorneys Hotline. Some good insight there into everything that happened at Auburn Saturday and is coming up on the hardwood for the Tigers. Real quick, I was going to I'm going to read through this real quick. It's interesting. I've just seen this sent out by Ralph Russo and Chris Vanini of The Athletic, that the conference commissioners are meeting in terms of the playoff, talking about the playoff this week. And while nothing is suggested that is going to happen as far as expansion of the playoff or anything like that, they don't feel like we're to that point right now. There is discussion about the weekly rankings show that some of you like, most of you dislike, and it's caught a lot of criticism, that there might be some changes to the weekly ranking show. So
Look for that. He says that's been a big topic of discussion. The reports are from The Athletic among the conference commissioners is how to change that ranking show. All right, we're about to do the viewing menu from Tyler, presented by Michelson, but that is after Lance Taylor tells us about One Man and a Toolbox.
One Man in the Toolbox performs handyman services for homes and commercial properties in Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, Montgomery, and surrounding areas. They do regular repairs and maintenance, also small project renovations and updates. They've got multiple technicians with different skill sets, and they can tackle most any item in your home. When you call for that free estimate, 205-823-2111, and you talk to Jessica, make sure you mention the next round. You're going to get a discount for the first hour of service. Again, 205-823-2111 or online, onemanandatoolbox.com.
And the viewing menu each day presented by our friends at Michelson Laser Vision. You want that laser vision, that laser surgery like Lance had? Let Michelson evaluate you. You can go get a risk-free evaluation from our friends, Dr. Mark and Jennifer Michelson. It's a father-daughter combo, and they do tremendous work. In fact, they're pioneers. People from around the world come to meet with them and discover more about LASIK vision. 969-8100, 969-8100, or MichelsonLaserVision.com. What you watching, Tyler?
So I watched a plethora of movies over the weekend. Friday, I told everyone about Normal, Exit 8, and what else did I watch? I honestly forgot. But Friday, I watched The Mummy, which was a real gross, wet, squelchy kind of movie.
Okay. That's one way of describing something.
If you're looking for that kind of horror movie, I would recommend it. It was solid. I also saw the Lorne Michaels documentary, which was pretty fun. If you like SNL and you want to see former SNL cast members do their impression of Lorne, it's a lot of right, like the Dr. Evil, right? That's where it comes from, actually.
Oh, really? Okay, that's what created that.
Yep. And then finally, I watched what is possibly the worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
That's a big statement from you.
Over the weekend, I saw Bus Boys, Theo Vaughn and David Spade.
So
on
that's
face
a pass?
value, you would think you'd get some laughs.
No.
Not a one to be found.
Not one laugh, huh?
This is the worst movie I've ever seen.
Ever?
Yeah, I'll give it that stamp. So after that, on Saturday, that would have gotten me to Sunday, actually. I watched The Big Short for the first time.
Yeah?
And I really enjoyed it.
It's a good flick. I like that one, yeah.
Yep. I really
I've actually seen
enjoyed
that.
how they took away from the plot at some points to cut away. It's like, all right, here's Margot Robbie in a bathtub to explain how this works.
That's right. Never a problem.
Yeah. It was not a problem, and I thought it was pretty funny. But tonight, I've got a Scream Unseen at AMC. It will most likely be a movie called Deep Water. A group of international passengers en route from Los Angeles to Shanghai are forced to make an emergency landing in shark-infested waters. Now they must work together in hopes to overcome the frenzy of sharks drawn to the wreckage. It stars Aaron Eckhart and Ben Kingsley. So, solid cast there. And then finally, there is a re-release in IMAX tonight. It is for the 2008 film Speed Racer, directed by the Wachowskis. It follows the driving prodigy Speed Racer, who rejects a lucrative contract from the corrupt Royalton Industries to keep his family's independent racing business afloat. After discovering that Royalton fixes races for profit, Speed enters the dangerous Casa Cristo 5000 rally to expose the corruption. It's based on an anime from the late 60s, and it stars Emile Hirsch, Christina Ricci, Ariel Winter, John Goodman, and Susan Sarandon.
That is what Tyler is watching, brought to you by Michelson Laser Vision. We grind film with the film guy next.
Follow Scott Forrester on Twitter at ScottForresterTV.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
To everyone who craves a fresh meal made just for you, let our team member Jacob share what's special about Culver's.
In Wisconsin, our food comes from the heart, and taking the time to handcraft your meal with care is how we've always done it at Culver's. It's why your Butterburger doesn't touch the grill until after you order.
Come to Culver's and let us serve you a Butterburger, made special just for you. From Wisconsin with love, welcome to Delicious.
At Central State Bank, we are large enough to serve you and small enough to know you. Manage your money with ease, whether it's mobile banking, hassle-free checking, competitive loans, business solutions, or personalized financial advice. We're your hometown bank with big-time service. Visit us today and experience banking made simple, because at Central State Bank, you come first.
Member FDIC.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service. Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
The PGA Tour champions are coming back to Greystone. The region's tradition, presented by Coca-Cola, is bringing championship golf April 29th through May 3rd. Watch the game's biggest names battle it out for one of the most prestigious titles on the tour. Experience the atmosphere, the excitement, and a full week of entertainment. This is the week golf fans love. The region's tradition, presented by Coca-Cola, April 29th through May 3rd. Get your tickets now.
When you think of Birmingham, it's hardworking people that go out each and every day to provide for their families, and that's how we want our team and our play on the field. Join us April 18th as we take on the Orlando Storm. United we ride.
Birmingham, it's official. The FIFA World Cup Trophy Tour by Coca-Cola is coming to town. On Thursday, May 7th, head to Uptown from 2 to 6 for your chance to get a free photo with the iconic FIFA World Cup Original Trophy. It's a once-in-a-lifetime moment for fans of all ages. Again, Thursday, May 7th at Uptown from 2 to 6. Your chance to get the free photo with the iconic FIFA World Cup Original Trophy. The FIFA World Cup Trophy Tour by Coca-Cola, because fan work is thirsty work.
Ain't no party like a Dega party. The noise, the chaos, the will to survive. The biggest, boldest, brashest, fastest, and most intimidating track in all of NASCAR. Only one place calls that home. At Talladega, anything can happen. And at this super speedway, everything usually does. Hell yeah, boys! NASCAR weekend at Talladega Super Speedway, April 24th through the 26th. Get your tickets now at TalladagaSuperspeedway.com.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, Dunaway at 38, Lance Taylor in Europe. He's across the big pond. I'm Ryan Brown, flying solo. Brooks Alston's already shaking his head. Why are you shaking your head, film guy? Because they're out?
I mean, yeah, but they couldn't even get you the common courtesy of your own sounder. It is Ryan Brown's the next round today. It is a solo show. That's
right.
It is clear out. I got the ball. So if you're going to show up for work, the least they can do is cut your own sounder while the other two guys are, vacationing, whatever that is. I mean, good Lord.
Yeah, when do we vacation around here? A lot, by the way. We vacation a lot around here. Brooks Austin is the film guy at Brooks Austin BA is where you find him on social media. The Film Guy Network on YouTube. You guys love when we have him on because he grinds the film. If I read your text right yesterday, you were grinding through a bunch of spring games, right? Am I right about that? You're looking at as much as you can from all the spring games yesterday?
Buddy, so I'll tell you a funny story, Ryan. This is how much film I've been watching. I watch a lot of film anyways, but this has gotten bad the last 2 months. My son was asked in school the other day by his teachers, "What does your dad do for work?" And he verbatim said, "My dad sits on the couch and watches football." And of course, the whole class did that. They started laughing. They're like, "Dad's a bum." No, Dad's been a bum for the last 2 months because I've been watching spring games the last couple of weeks, but I'll be on a draft show Thursday night doing the first round draft, and I've been watching like 75 of these, potential first round draft picks. And look, I love what I do. I love watching film. It's become a little bit overbearing at this point. I think last week I watched like 34 hours of tape on Catapult, and like, dude, again, love what I do. I'm getting to the wit's end right now. I might need a little breather, but this spring tape's been fun. This new, life of college football. Like, I'm not watching individual players anymore. I'm back to watching teams and concepts and figuring out deficiencies. And it's a different set of problems, if you will, when I look at it. So it's intriguing me a little bit different. But yeah, I'm a little bit inundated with work right about now in a time period where you're supposed to be at 30A and in Europe.
And in Europe, yes. So in your course of watching spring film, is there a player that's jumped? Is there somebody you've watched and you're like, dang, man, I didn't know this guy had it in him?
I mean, it's kind of periodically are everywhere, right? Like Cedarian Morgan, look, I'm going to be honest, and I always am. I didn't love Cedarian coming out of high school because I thought he was going to have trouble separating, right? Trouble against bump and run. Like if Dejon Lee walked down on him right now, I think he'd have a tough time getting on top or creating separation as a young football player at 6'5", 210 pounds, however heavy he is. What I didn't know was they were going to play him in a slot. Like they weren't going to have him against bump and run guys. They were going to have him playing against nickels that have 7 yards of cushion. And if I give a 6'5", 210-pound kid like Cedarian room to get moving, it's going to be a real problem. So that idea of him playing in the slot kind of alleviated any questions I had about him. I know he's big, physical, able to win at the catch point, all that good stuff. His body control is really elite. I didn't know that we were going to utilize him in a way that accentuated his skill sets this early on in his career. I thought they were going to kind of Derek Meadows him, right? Where Derek got to play as an X all year as a freshman last year and kind of had some of those growing pains, right? Where I don't know if maybe they learned their lesson there. Same thing, I watched Georgia's spring game, and I had questions about Caden Prothro coming out of Bowden High School here in Georgia. 5-star, top 32 prospect, elite football player, elite prospect. But my question was like, hey, 6'6", 230 pounds, plays receiver and corner in high school. This is a tight end body type. What are we going to do? How are we going to progress? How are we going to grow into this role as a tight end? Little did I know they ain't going to play him at tight end. They're going to play him a wide receiver. So they're doing similar things with Caden Prothro that they are doing at Alabama with Cedarian Morgan. I think this is a twofold thing. One, we paid these guys a lot of money. We better figure out ways to get them on the field as freshmen, even if they have young player deficiencies. But B, like, this is what they might do. This is what they might do moving forward. This might be their home in the slot. That to me kind of opened my eyes for, hey, we got to find ways to get guys on the field earlier, and maybe these traditional roles of position like alignment at receiver don't really apply anymore.
I want to go back to Ced Morgan because we were discussing this. It was on the Hills last Monday, actually, of the Alabama 8A game, of their spring game. Like it's not critical, but how much it would help him if Ryan Coleman Williams is the one that a lot of people think Ryan Coleman Williams should and could be. If he is the one and Morgan's getting even more favorable coverage in that situation, how much better he could be in that.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan, to me, I think they're going to play him as a Z, not necessarily as an X. So, and the reason I separate those two is because normally we can't, like, double team the Z. We can't, like, slide coverage. We kind of just have to live with what he's doing, right? Like, even Jamar Chase in the league, when he's, lined up as a Z, they can't really, or excuse me, not Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. When he's lined up as a Z, we can't really, like, slide coverage everywhere over there because he's in the trip side. He's not over there as an X by himself. So if we do, we can tilt coverage like that. I say that because I don't think Ryan's ever going to, despite the fact that he's going off, we can't just like tilt coverage to a slot receiver, tilt coverage to a Z receiver. So long story short, if Ryan is what he was as a freshman, there really is no answers for how you defend what they have going on. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, I know Noah Rogers was a big purchase and a big addition, and his loss hurts, don't get me wrong. but I think you're so deep right there, right? Like Rico Scott is a dependable slot receiver. I've talked about on every platform I've ever been on how much I think Lazir Brooks is a special receiver and a special talent. And Ryan Williams and Ced Morgan. Like there's so many options there. I think you're going to be okay. And quarterback play. Quarterback play at Alabama right now is really, really good. I think you got two high-quality starting options.
Bro, that's interesting. Brooks Austin is with us. At Brooks Austin BA is where you find him on social media, the Film Guy Network on YouTube. Do everything for him you do for us. Please subscribe, set your alerts so you know when he drops info. Download his podcast, do all those things like you do for us. We greatly appreciate you supporting him. He's on the Alexander Shinnara Trial Attorneys Hotline. You watch Russell and Mack, and is it so? I'm putting words in your mouth here. It's difficult to differentiate between the two. You think you've got two starters there, maybe?
I think you have two high-quality starters. I think they're both really, really good. And look, you'll have me on moving forward throughout this Kalen DeBoer regime and run and however long it lasts. I'll say the same things about his quarterback room for in perpetuity. Like, I think he has a really, really good ability to identify guys that can compete and execute from the pocket, can obtain a lot of information, spit that information back out. Like, I think his quarterback play, as long as he has been a head coach, has been really, really good. You go all the way back to Fresno State. Hell, if you want to go all the way back to his offensive coordinating days at Indiana the first time around, quarterback play is not the question. I think they're pick and stick 37 to 4,000 yards passing. That's just what they are, as long as they have some type of complementary run game, which I think is the only question left about offense. But yes, I think Austin Mack and I think Keelan Russell are very, very good football players. In fact, if I had to address any questions about the roster, it's probably the last place I go to is that spot. And I know everybody's like, but this is the most important position in the sport. It is. And I think you have two answers there. Now, where do I lean? You asked me where I lean. I'm always going to lean talent. I'm always going to lean explosivity. I'm always going to lean fun. And Keelan Russell is fun. There's no doubt about that. He is a playmaker, whereas I think Austin Mack is a great distributor of the football. Sometimes we need playmakers at the position, especially if we can't find explosivity anywhere else except for the passing game. In the last 2 years, unless it was Jalen Milroe, there is no explosive run game at Alabama. So we probably need to find some of that explosivity elsewhere. I will say this as well. Having a rushing threat at quarterback alleviates a lot of running problems, right? We balance counts. And we saw this, and I saw this firsthand watching every single Georgia game up close and personal the last 7 years, right? They went from a mobile-ish threat in Stetson, one that was like, hey, you at least have to pay attention to him. He might keep the ball, to a guy that never, ever kept the football in Carson Beck. And they went from a top 35 rushing football team to 107th. The University of Georgia was 107th in rushing under Carson Beck as starting quarterback. And then what they do last year? Last year, they were top 35 presence again in the running game. And by the way, in 2024, they had 4 NFL offensive linemen and finished 107th in rushing. And nobody could figure it out. And then in 2025, it magically got patched together with young football players at the offensive line. They didn't have very much compared to NFL caliber talent from 24 to 25 on the offensive line. By the way, I think I just kind of explained Alabama's offensive line. Like, Caden Proctor's magically going to be a first-round draft pick. And everybody's going to look at that and go, why couldn't Alabama run the ball? Look at all these offensive. Well, they didn't have a threat at the quarterback position. Everybody knew I could kind of tee off on that ball carrier, and I think that changes everything. That being said, I don't trust Keelan to keep himself healthy based off what I saw last year. So we got to teach him that. We got to teach him how to slot. We got to teach him how to avoid contact. I watched, I think, 35 snaps of him last year in garbage time, and I counted 3 at what I call exposures to contact, where we put ourselves at risk. We don't need to do that. If we do that over a 12-game time span, we're going to be in deep trouble from a standpoint of health.
Because to your point, Proctor is going to get drafted. Brailsford, the center, is going to get drafted. I mean, it's not as if they didn't have players on that offensive line.
Formsby's going to start for A&M.
Yeah.
Like, y'all had what most people would consider as good individual talents that could not execute. By the way, Tate Ratledge started every game for Detroit. Dylan Fairchild started every game. Jared Wilson started every game. That 2024 offensive lineman at Georgia was not bad. and they finished 107th in rushing. Nowadays in college football, if you don't have somebody to balance counts, you will struggle to run the ball. I vehemently believe that.
Brooks Austin is with us for a few more moments. At Brooks Austin BA is where you find him on social media, the Film Guy Network on YouTube. Go consume his work. He's burning through these spring games and the draft and all of that they'll have Thursday night. You were at the Georgia spring game, the G-Day game. And look, I mean, everybody gets caught up when there's a quarterback battle, which there is not at Georgia. I ask you, when you look at the 22 or maybe the 44, does it look like a Kirby Smart 22-44? Is this roster a national championship caliber roster, do you think?
Yeah, everywhere but receiver right now, I think. They spend a lot of time and effort and recruiting resources, which nowadays means money, on Talon Taylor and C.J. Wiley. And if those two football players aren't high-end SEC caliber starters, then they've lost a lot of money. They've lost a lot of money and they've lost a lot of time on two highly touted football players. It looks like Talon Taylor is going to be that. It looks like Talon Taylor is going to be an explosive option at the Z spot. The problem is, like, from my sourcing, we have problems like getting through the week of practice without getting hurt or without getting dinged up or without getting something or without being hobbled or without just not being 100%. It's not survivable for a 16, 17 game schedule if we're trying to be, like you said, national championship caliber. That concerns me. The other thing that concerns me, and I'm not doing a hindsight, Brooks was right, ha, ha, ha. But, like, I express my opinions and concerns about C.J. Wiley's inability to consistently catch the football. I let everybody that asked me about him in high school know. Like, hey, he's 6'4", he runs 10.79". He's great. He's awesome. He's a great athlete. However, I don't know if he's consistently going to pluck and catch the football at the next level because he doesn't do it now. And I think we had 3 drops on Saturday. I'm talking about like 2-step slant, ball at our face, right through the wickets off the face mask. And it's like, what? Not okay. You know what I mean? Like if we can't catch a 2-step slant, Ryan, you can go out and run a 2-step slant. I throw a ball at your face, and you better catch it, or else I'm going to look at you funny, let alone a wide receiver that I assume Georgia's paying $900,000. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so, like, they didn't go out and get a Zachariah Branch. They didn't go out and get a Colby Young in the transfer portal because they couldn't afford it, because they had to keep Talon Taylor and C.J. Wiley and had to hope that these two players are who they think they are. Now, if they aren't, it's okay. Somewhat, because Isaiah Canyon, the transfer from Georgia Tech's been really, really good. And Craig Dandridge, the true freshman out of Cambridge, has been really, really good. And Caden Prothro, the true freshman, has been really good. But here's the deal. I don't like going into a season banking on a transfer from Georgia Tech who has 400 career yards and a true freshman and a true freshman. I don't like doing it. And 2 redshirt freshmen who haven't really played. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't like looking at the room and being like, well, hell, there's a lot of talent there. Let's just project it to be good. I got to see. I got to know before I can be like, yeah, they're going to be all right at that position. Everywhere else, they're fine. I mean, they're too deep at tight end. They're too deep at running back. They're too deep at linebacker. Like, they're fine at premier positions other than receiver, in my opinion. Hell, they're too deep at corner. Like, they got 2 corners in Jate Gilbert and Braylon Conley that I think would start at about 11 SEC schools.
Jeez.
And they're the 3 and 4 here. You know what I mean? So they're plenty deep. It's just certain positions where it's like, hey, man, we got to hope these guys are who we thought they were.
You can see more like this by following Brooks on social media at Brooks Austin BA, or go to his YouTube channel, the Film Guy Network, where he breaks it down all the time. So are you guys live during the draft Thursday? Is that what you guys are doing?
Oh, I'll be on Dan Le Batard's show Thursday night. So we'll be doing that. Shout out to those guys. I don't know if I've been listening to those guys since I was like 14 years old. So I got no business being on that broadcast, but I'm gonna try to bring something to it.
Is it like a collection of people? Who all is on there?
Oh my God, it's a smorgasbord.
Oh, okay. So it's one of those deals. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Here's what my role is. I told them, if anybody gets drafted, you can come to me and I'll have something on them.
Interesting.
So you can imagine how exhaustive my prep has been.
Yeah.
So
man, that's why Dad's on the couch watching football all the time. Can't embarrass himself.
Right. Hey,
yeah.
it's not a bad job.
No, it's not. It's not. Except
he wasn't wrong.
Yeah,
my child was not wrong.
Your kids' teachers might think you're a degenerate gambler. Like they might have sent somebody.
That's exactly. The teacher came out and told my wife. She was like, "Hey, don't tell your husband, but your son made a joke today." And my wife was like, "Well, I mean, funny joke. Also, kind of what he does."
Yeah, not a joke. not a joke at all.
Yeah.
All right, so catch that Thursday night with Levitard and the gang. Brooks, always fun, man. We appreciate the time. Thanks for jumping on.
No doubt, man.
All right, buddy. Take care. Brooks Austin with us on the Alexander Schnarr Trial Attorneys Hotline. We will hear what Kirby Smart himself had to say about the Georgia spring game and where the Bulldogs are. You just heard Brooks break down their overall roster, and basically their 2 deep is legit, except at wide receiver, which you get a lot at Georgia. A reminder, Kirby Smart will be part of the group that is coming to the Regions Tradition Pro-Am. It is Wednesday of Regions Tradition Week. This is coming up next week. Tickets are on sale. Next Wednesday is the Pro-Am. The tournament, a major on the Champions Tour, starts Thursday, 4 days through the weekend right there. You could get your tickets now by going to RegentsTradition.com, RegentsTradition.com out at Greystone. We will be there live Wednesday with the Pro-Am and then our Coca-Cola conversations there. Afterwards, you can see more by going to RegentsTradition.com. This is next week at Greystone Golf and Country Club right here in Birmingham. Regents Charity Classic presented by the Regents Tradition, presented by Coca-Cola. RegentsTradition.com, a Champions Tour major right here in Birmingham. RegentsTradition.com. All right. Kirby Smart, I mentioned, Georgia head coach, is going to be there for the Regents Tradition. He was at the G-Day game Saturday, though. His thoughts on where Georgia is coming out of spring.
Happy and pleased with the spring overall. I thought we had a good spring. I thought our guys got better. We got probably more reps than we've ever gotten before in terms of 1s, 2s, and 3s on the full body of work. We had more snaps today than we've had in the spring games in the past, so I was pleased with that. The tempo of the players, I think when it was 65 and 63, we've been averaging around 120 for that game. So really happy for the players. They were able to do that and got to play a lot of players today. At times it was sloppy that I get frustrated with in terms of trying to execute, but sometimes the heat has something to do with that too. We had a little hotter day today than our last 2 scrimmages have been unusually cool. So the guys had to push through today, and we actually got less reps today than we got our other 2 scrimmages. But pleased with the progress of the team. Got a lot of youth in this team that continues to grow up, and we're going to have some guys be able to help us next year.
Well, we'll see how that growth is at receiver. That's one spot where the film guy's like, man, I ain't feeling it. I ain't feeling it at receiver, but obviously loaded in that defensive backfield, the Georgia Bulldogs. Real quick, before we get to the break, Dusty Dvoracek going to join us on the other side. We'll talk some college football and specifically Oklahoma. He was at the Oklahoma spring game with him. I mentioned that Athletic article about the changes potentially coming in the ratings release show. That is, the conference commissioners are getting together. They're talking about the playoff. They don't expect playoff expansion to come out of this meeting. That will be a huge surprise if it does. But one thing apparently they're talking about in this meeting is the rankings show, the show that comes on ESPN, and they unveil that week's rankings. And it starts Halloween, sometime around Halloween, early November, late October, early November, and it runs all the way through the day after the championship game when they unveil it, which has been – there's been a lot of controversy on those days, specifically last year with Miami and Notre Dame, SMU and Alabama the year before. So there has frequently been controversy. So one of the things they're talking about is starting releasing the rankings later in the year. According to Ralph Russo and Chris Vanini of The Athletic, the controversy last year was because Notre Dame started so far ahead of Miami, and Miami kept having to close the gap. So they are thinking about maybe starting later in the season with the rankings. There's one suggestion that says no rankings before championship weekend. Now, as Ralph Russo and Chris Vanini point out at The Athletic, there is potentially an expiration date on these conference championship games, and it might not be far off. But for a little while longer, as long as they're part of the equation, is it complicating how they rank teams? So should they just wait until after the championship games are played and just drop it after that? So basically conferences such as the American, that's one problem for them because they use the college football playoff rankings to determine who actually plays in the conference championship game when there's a tie. Some other conferences probably should do that. That's how Miami could have played in their conference championship game last year. So that does create a whole series of issues there as well. One thing, though, that they could do, and I think this is the right thing to do, is to take the spotlight off the chairman. They point out that chairman interview is where a lot of the controversy comes. Just quit doing the interview with the chair of the committee. You got the rankings. Let Reese guide a discussion between whoever's the panel that day, McElroy, Herb Street, all those guys, talk about the rankings. Why do we need an interview with the chairman? That is one of the suggestions there. So they'll determine all of that. They're contractually mandated, by the way, to do that show, and it gets pretty good TV ratings, so they'll continue doing it, but there will possibly be some changes to it. So we'll see what comes out of those meetings. Don't expect that as you see these meetings start for there to be, unless there's a huge surprise, any sort of playoff expansion. We're probably not going to come out of this meeting with a 16-team playoff on the horizon. All right, we're going to talk some football with Dusty Dvoracek when we return. A reminder, Central State Bank is the bank that is big enough to meet every need that you have, but they are also small enough to know you. That is Central State Bank. They are in your community. The decision makers that are making that decision on the loan that maybe helps you buy your car or maybe helps you start your business. They are people that go to church where you go to church. They go to the ballpark where you go to the ballpark. Their kids go to school where your kids go to school. That's what a community bank is all about. Big enough to meet every single need you have, small enough to know you. Central State Bank, rooted in community. Member FDIC. And Dunaway tells us about our guy, Greg from Pale City.
All right, guys, it's time to take care of your roof with my buddy Greg from Pale City and his wonderful wife, Andrea, a locally owned company for over 20 years. Call Greg's cell number to get a free no-cost roof inspection, 205-542-3531, 205-542-3531, or go to stormrestorationroofing.com or check him out on Facebook, Greg from Pale City. A-plus rated with the Better Business Bureau. They handle storm damage, roof replacements, and Greg even has his builder's license so he can help with that storm damage repair when these big storms blow through. But he'll give you a free no-cost inspection. Get up there and make sure all the shingles are in place. There's no water entry points around the chimney or other openings up there. Just a good checkup for your roof. And don't forget to ask him about the soft wash program to make your roof look better this spring and summer. It's all right there, locally owned, not a door knocker. He's our buddy, Greg from Pell City. StormRestorationRoofing.com or call his cell number, 205-542-3531. Our buddy Greg from Pell City and StormRestorationRoofing.com.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
To everyone who craves a fresh meal made just for you, let our team member Jacob share what's special about Culver's.
In Wisconsin, our food comes from the heart, and taking the time to handcraft your meal with care is how we've always done it at Culver's. It's why your Butterburger doesn't touch the grill until after you order.
Come to Culver's and let us serve you a Butterburger, made special just for you. From Wisconsin with love, welcome to Delicious.
At Central State Bank, we are large enough to serve you and small enough to know you. Manage your money with ease, whether it's mobile banking, hassle-free checking, competitive loans, business solutions, or personalized financial advice. We're your hometown bank with big-time service. Visit us today and experience banking made simple, because at Central State Bank, you come first.
Member FDIC.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from The Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off.
Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie-cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Birmingham, it's official. The FIFA World Cup Trophy Tour by Coca-Cola is coming to town. On Thursday, May 7th, head to Uptown from 2 to 6 for your chance to get a free photo with the iconic FIFA World Cup Original Trophy. It's a once-in-a-lifetime moment for fans of all ages. Again, Thursday, May 7th at Uptown from 2 to 6. Your chance to get the free photo with the iconic FIFA World Cup Original Trophy. The FIFA World Cup Trophy Tour by Coca-Cola, because fan work is thirsty work.
When you think of Birmingham, it's hardworking people that go out each and every day to provide for their families, and that's how we want our team and our play on the field. Join us April 18th as we take on the Orlando Storm. United we ride.
Ain't no party like a Dega party. The noise, the chaos, the will to survive. The biggest, boldest, brashest, fastest, and most intimidating track in all of NASCAR. Only one place calls that home. At Talladega, anything can happen. And at this super speedway, everything usually does. Hell yeah, boys! NASCAR weekend at Talladega Super Speedway, April 24th through the 26th. Get your tickets now at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com.
All right, we continue on the next round. Dunaway down at 38. Lance in Europe. They have left me all by myself, so I appreciate people jumping on like Dusty Dvoracek is about to do from SiriusXM and ESPN. It is our Innisfree countdown to kick off 131 days until that first Saturday of college football. Your game day tradition is Innisfree Irish Pub in Tuscaloosa, Irish-inspired pub food, the signature Irish gold sauce, always a world-class atmosphere at Innisfree. 131 days until that first college football Saturday, where Dusty Dvoracek will be in a stadium somewhere. He doesn't know where yet. He doesn't have his assignment yet, but Dusty, you'll be somewhere watching a great game, I'm sure.
I would hope so. That is definitely the plan. How we doing, Ryan? Solo today, huh?
Yeah.
Left you all by yourself.
All by myself. Probably a bad idea. I don't think my parents rarely did that. They were like, yeah, he ain't staying home by himself. When I was a kid. I would find trouble sometimes, Dusty, when I was not monitored properly.
I would imagine that goes for a lot of us. Yeah, it's man, I was in Norman on Saturday, and I know that they had A-Day the week before, but I'm just glad we're getting back to some semblance of spring football. I know people. I've heard some outrage and some people upset that they're all not on TV. But at least we're the fans that get a chance to go. We get some football in the stadium, and all of us that love the sport so much and cover it, we're able to get some videos and get some ideas and get a chance to talk about it. So I just to kind of get things started, I'm glad that we're moving back towards more of a traditional spring game but hey, if you want to race fans in the stands and you want to have dunk contests, so be it. But I'm more of a traditionalist. I like actual football, and it seems like this year more than the last several, we're getting back to more of a traditional spring game. That's definitely how it was in Norman on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, and I want to talk about that game for a second, but these things were certainly on life support not too terribly long ago. The spring transfer portal had made these things not a great situation. Eliminating that spring transfer portal, do you get the feel from coaches you talk to that they're cool with these things continuing as long as they don't risk losing 15 players the day after spring is over?
Yeah, I 100% I do. And I think that makes a huge difference, because there was this reluctancy to want to hide players, and then, right along with that, people see those players, but, just everything with spring. I think coaches are much more pleased with just the singular portal window. I know I am. And, just as much as, you'd have guys who had just renegotiated back in January trying to renegotiate again in April because that second portal window opens up. So I think this simplifies a lot of things, and I do think it makes it, easier on a lot of these coaches not to have to worry about, their players. If they don't get the right reps in the spring game, they may hit the portal, or if other teams are looking to poach, they see some players that maybe, and they probably had an idea about them anyway. I don't want to make it seem like just because there was a spring game, that was the only way they'd see them. But I do think that just overall better for the sport. And I think it allows coaches to be a little bit more relaxed and not having to worry about their players and their rosters getting pilfered. And so we can have more of a traditional spring that we've known. I don't know how long it lasts, if I'm being honest, Ryan. Like, the more coaches I talk to, the more I hear a wanting to be closer to like an NFL model.
Yeah.
I don't know if we ever get there. It would be more like, again, like, who knows where this goes? Do we get to a place where the portal window is actually in the spring, and then we have what we would deem spring practice, like OTAs in the NFL, that would be more in the summer? It would come more, in June, July, leading up to a fall training camp. I think that is potentially there for the future. But as the way everything sits right now, I think it's much better with the singular window, and it's definitely promoted coaches to be more willing to have spring games, which I think is great for everybody, great for the sport, great for us to talk about it, and most importantly, great for the fans. Because at the end of the day, that's really what makes this thing go. And it's why you and I have jobs, that we get to talk about this sport that we love so much. And it's why these players are able to be so well compensated. At the end of the day, I think that we sometimes forget and lose sight of, who's probably as important an entity in all this as anybody, and why this thing is so wildly popular. It's because the passion, the love, and the great fans that college football has.
All right, so portal aside, though, I want to ask this question. All people have to do is look behind you and see the Bears and Oklahoma helmets there. And reminder, you played for Bob Stoops at Oklahoma and then went on to play in the NFL with the Chicago Bears. The spring versus the OTAs and the mini camps and all that you had, which was better for the learning curve for you? Excuse me, you experienced both. Which do you think would prepare a team better?
Well, I personally, spring football. But I mean, it's so different. You have to also remember, whenever I go through spring football, I was 18 years old. I turned 19 March of my freshman year. So I had just turned 19. Like, I had a lot to learn. I was way underdeveloped coming out of high school. So like, just that learning curve in college alone, so immense, right? Not that you don't learn in the NFL, you don't continue to develop and get better, but by the time I went to the NFL, I'm 23. You know what I mean? It's so different. The other thing too, like, when I was going through spring football, we hit a lot. Like, we calloused each other. Like, again, you're still in that developmental stage of how to take on blocks, how to get off blocks, how to properly tackle. So, it required a lot more physicality. Whereas OTAs, you're not even in, you're in spiders, you're in jerseys, you're getting work in, but it's different, right? I mean, there's 30-year-old men in there that have been playing in the NFL for 7-8 years. So I just think that to compare the two are wildly different. My guess would be, if you went to more of an OTA structure, there would be a mixed bag. And there's probably a mixed bag with spring practices all over college football, right? I think some probably approach it. I talked to John Sumrall here several weeks back, and talked to Coach Venables on Saturday. They go hard in spring. I'm sure there's some that maybe take it a little bit less. They maybe don't have quite as many days where they're hitting. I'm sure it'd be very similar in OTAs. If they went to that similar of a kind of a structure, some places would probably have pads on a little bit more, be a little more physical. Some would dial it back and probably wouldn't be as much. I just think in general, though, in college, it's so much more of a developmental league than the National Football League because of the age of the players you're getting. I mean, you're getting a lot of raw players that are going to play brand new positions than they ever played in high school. There's so much they have to learn, so much they have to go through. compared to when you get the NFL, there may be some guys switching positions. There's still stuff to learn, but you're more of a finished product leaving college more so than you are making the transition from high school to college.
Dusty Dvoracek is with us, the former Oklahoma great, now on ESPN and Sirius XM. Dusty and Danny every single morning, 6 to 9 on Sirius 84. Dunaway is a frequent guest of theirs, so they know the real talent on this show when they pull Dunaway in there to get his thoughts. Dusty is with us on the Alexander Shinnara Trial Attorneys Hotline. So you saw the Oklahoma game over the weekend.
I did.
We were asked by our social media director, Brooks Carter, to tier the teams in the SEC, and a lot of us had Oklahoma in the tier that is below playoff contender. I personally did that because I look at a brutal schedule.
Yep.
Our old friend Jim Nagy put a little pin in that tweet publicly and showed the world that we had doubted Oklahoma. So our old buddy Jim, who used to live here in our state, Dusty, he's got us as Oklahoma doubters. When you watch them in spring, do they look like they progressed from a playoff team of last year already?
Great question. I saw Jim Nagy on the sidelines, talked to him for a little while. He did not mention your tweet, but next time I see him, I'll make sure and bring it up that I was on with you and we had a discussion about it.
We got pinned by him.
So a lot to unpack there. We got a lot to discuss as it relates to just that singular question and statement you made, because I would argue that though the schedule is tough, I don't know if it's as tough as last year, which Oklahoma was a playoff team a year ago. This is one spring game. We've had a lot going on in our world. I've not made it out to many spring practices, but I mean, I talked to plenty of people around the program. One spring game, my chance to get eyes on it, down the field, hanging out with my son, watching the spring game. This looks like a better team than Oklahoma had last year. Again, we'll see if that plays out next season. But for a team that went 10-2, maybe some could easily argue that they got more out of that team than what they should have. Okay, I think this team has a higher ceiling than last year's team. The offensive line is much improved, Ryan. I mean, they're basically all back, except now they're older, more experienced. I mean, you started 3 freshmen down the stretch last year, 2 true freshmen, 1 redshirt freshman. They look much better as a unit overall. Depth, I think that's questionable. You know, I think you'd say that about a lot of teams. Who's got the best depth? I don't know, but if we're talking front-end starting talent, this Oklahoma offense looks to me to be much better. The tight ends they brought in, Hayden Hansen, the Florida transfer, Rocky Beers, the Colorado State transfer, that is a tight ends room that was void of talent a year ago. And they've got it now, and they're going to utilize it. You're going to see much more 12 personnel, 1 back, 2 tight ends. There's going to be much more of an emphasis on running the football. That is going to be very real. And we saw that in the spring game. They've got they brought in a kid from Colorado State, Avant, that I didn't know much about. I like the way he moved. There was a freshman, Walker, 28. He kind of stole the show. You know, there's always that breakout guy in the spring game. I would say it was Walker. He played very well, and I like personally a couple of times I saw him in pass protection pick up a blitz, but he popped a couple of nice runs, had good balance, ran behind his pad. So I just think there's going to be, from a personnel standpoint and an emphasis standpoint, much more on the run game, which was needed. They're 112th in the country last year. You got to remember that they made the playoff without a run game, with a passing attack that was highly questionable, a quarterback that was hurt most of the year. I think Mateer clearly has to take a step. He looked good. I talked to him for a little while. He's much healthier. He's in a good place. Satania's back. He's going to have a big year. And, I think going to getting Parker Livingstone, Trell Harris, Livingstone from as Arch Manning's roommate down in Texas, which Arch didn't love him coming to Norman. I'm sure Parker didn't love Cam Coleman going to Austin. So so is college football in 2026. But then they got Trell Harris from Virginia. There's so many better pieces on this offense. I think they're going to be much better. And then defensively, man, they're going to be really good again. I mean, they got dudes. Getting Owen Heineke back matters. That linebacking core is going to be really good. They don't have great depth at safety. They're going to be much better at corner. And the D-line is going to be really good. You know, Taylor Wine, I think, has got a chance to be one of the premier defensive players and defensive linemen in the SEC this year. So, and then you got Stone and Jackson inside, probably the best D-tackle tandem, one of the best in the country. I mean, I don't want to overhype my alma mater. I'm not into that kind of thing. But I'll just tell you, if they can stay healthy, and based off what I saw, I think this is a better team than what they were a year ago.
The Owen Heineke deal, I have brought it up often on this show because we have spent a lot of time, as you might imagine, on this show talking about European pro basketball players that can now play collegiately, G League guys that played collegiately even without a court order. With all of that in mind, the Owen Heineke decision by the NCAA was one of the single dumbest things I'd ever seen them do. I could not believe that guy had to fight that hard to get this other year. I mean, that was just insane to me, Dusty.
It was. I don't know how much you've detailed it, but basically the NCAA said that the 1 year he played lacrosse at Ohio State, where he played in 3 games and a total of 15 minutes on the field of lacrosse, that was a year of eligibility.
It's absurd.
Which, by basically any other standard, that would have been a redshirt year.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what he had to fight to get back. But fortunately, he's able to get that back. You know, and I talked to him on Saturday as well. He was, if it didn't go his way, he was going to respect the decision and move on. And he was prepared to transition to his next phase. But I think they got it right. I think he deserved an additional year of eligibility, and he's going to make a big difference on that Oklahoma defense. Him and Kip Lewis back together. They get a really good transfer at backer from Michigan as well. So that's going to be a really strong room for that defense. And I don't really understand why the NCAA had dug their heels in on that one. Like, there's some that you look at, Ryan, you're kind of like, I don't pass the sniff test.
Yeah.
And, like, they shouldn't get eligibility, and they get it. And that was one where you're like, you know, what are we doing here? This one felt like a layup. So I was glad to see, not just for school, the program that I played for, but it just felt like that was the right thing to do for the young man. So he's, as you saw last year, there was times when he took games over. I mean, he was against Michigan. He was the best defensive player Oklahoma had several times down the stretch. I think it was the Tennessee game. He was just fabulous. So he's from a walk-on, an Oklahoma kid that grew up always wanting to play for the Sooners, to playing himself into a key pivotal role. He's going to have a chance to really have an impact on this team next season.
Hey, before you go, the last thing, that ball over your right shoulder is the Rose Bowl 2003 ball.
Yeah.
Where you guys played Washington State. That game was significant in this state. I don't know if you remember this aspect of it, but Mike Price had just accepted the Alabama job. Yeah. And a lot of people watched that game and were like, "Oof, what have we hired here? This does not look." I'm curious your memories from that game. Is there anything that jumps out from that game? In relation to that, obviously playing in a Rose Bowl is an amazing memory. I just mean in relation to, like, is this guy really going to go coach Alabama, a program like Alabama?
I did not think about it from that perspective at all. Interestingly enough, we played Alabama early that next season, if you remember.
I do.
So I don't remember that. I just remember that we were number one in the country earlier that season, and we thought we should have been playing for a national title, but we won the Big 12 that year, and to go play in a Rose Bowl. What are my memories defensively? We kicked their ass, Ryan. That's what I remember.
Oh, yeah.
We dominated. I don't remember. You could look it up. We had 7 sacks or 8 sacks, or I don't know. I was a part of a couple of those, and Jason Gesser was the quarterback, and we got after him pretty good. So I just remember, I remember it was an incredible experience to be a part of the Rose Bowl. I mean, amazing. Just everything about it. My family got to go out there, and then given the opportunity, man, we got to go out and perform at a high level. So we had a good day defensively and offensively. I think Nate Hibble was the MVP of that one, but I think our defense left a pretty good mark. And I wasn't really thinking about Mike Price. I was just thinking about how I could get after Jason Gesser in that Washington State offense. And We did a pretty decent job of that day.
Yeah, that was not the takeaway for a lot of people in this state. I remember we were back in radio at the time, and I just remember taking calls after that like, man, this is a mistake. This time you see them go play a physical team like Oklahoma, and look what happens. They're going to get that every week in the SEC. Can this offense work in the SEC? And frankly, we never knew. Not at Alabama.
What was the I'm trying to think. What was the – so that would have been the 03 Rose Bowl, technically, the 02 season.
That's right. And then
I'm trying to see. I got to see it. Now that you brought this up, I haven't thought about this game in a minute.
Yeah.
Do we have a stat sheet on this?
I couldn't find a box score. I mean, I'll see if I can find one, because as you mentioned, the next year was the game in Tuscaloosa, night game in Tuscaloosa, where Oklahoma ran one of the ballsiest fake punts ever. And it completely flipped the game. Alabama was hanging with
Croyle.
Yeah.
Brody Croyle, I believe, was the quarterback in that game.
That is
Alabama.
correct. Absolutely, he was. Not a very good Alabama team in the long run. They did not finish the season well, but that night, they looked like they belonged a little bit. I mean, they hung with you guys for a while, and after that fake punt, it was all downhill.
I'll tell you this. That was an incredible environment. Night game at Bryant-Denny. I didn't know much about the tradition of Alabama football, but my family went down there and they loved it. They thought the fans were great. And so I'd always left a great taste and a great imprint on me and my family. And just, anytime, and obviously now it seems, and then they came to Norman in 02.
That's right.
And then that was a knockdown drag out too. That was a high scoring back and forth. And then we returned it and went back to Tuscaloosa in 03. And again, another really close. That was more of a low-scoring knockdown, drag-out in that one. And then, of course, years later, now we've seen them play in playoffs, and we've seen them play in the same conference, and we just had another playoff game this year. But at the time, just to get those two brands on the same field, even though Alabama isn't what they become under Saban and currently are now, it was still special, I think, for everybody involved. So that was really cool to be a part of. And the fact that I get to say I was 2-0 against Alabama doesn't suck either.
It does not. I understand that. I cannot. Oh, I've got the sacks right here. Do I have sacks? Nope. That's just scoring. They don't give me the defensive, so I can't give you credit for all your sacks. But I do see that Jason Gesser, 17 of 34, 239, 2 picks. So not a good day for Jason Gesser.
No, and I believe they were shut out until the fourth quarter. I think it was like 20-0 going into the fourth. We had a pretty comfortable lead, because I remember when we gave up the first score, our coaches were pretty upset that we didn't secure a shutout in the Rose Bowl.
Rose Bowl, yes.
Good start to that game for us on D.
I would say so. All right, so you can hear Dusty and Danny every single morning on SiriusXM 84. You can follow Dusty on social media at Dusty Dvoracek. And see him on ESPN during the college football season. Always fun, Dusty. We appreciate the time, man.
Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate you.
All right, buddy. Take care. Dusty with us on the Alexander Shinara Trial Attorneys Hotline. Alexander Shinara Trial Attorneys, the place you go when you're in need of any legal assistance. Shinara.com, Shinara.com. You don't pay a dime unless they win your case with Alexander Shinara Trial Attorneys. And he's recovered more than $2 billion for his clients. So it's a guy that absolutely knows what he is doing. $2 billion for his clients. Alexander Shinara Trial Attorneys, Shinara.com. He is a Birmingham guy, Birmingham born and bred, wanted to create a firm that would take care of his community. He's done just that. As I mentioned, more than $2 billion recovered. Shinara.com, Shinara.com, Alexander Shinara Trial Attorneys. Before we go to another break, another basketball story. We talked some basketball with Hoke. Amari Allen, over the weekend, the Alabama forward, entered the NBA draft. But much like LeBaron Philon, who, by the way, was up until the 11th hour and 59th minute last year, Allen is keeping his collegiate eligibility open. So he's going to see what kind of feedback he gets. Just early feedback that I have seen this morning, Sports Illustrated had Amari Allen the 26th pick. So obviously that is first round guaranteed money, though late in the first round. 26th pick. And I cannot remember the team they had him going to. It's fairly irrelevant to this conversation, but 26th pick. ESPN, I looked instead of mock drafts at their best available players. They had him as 29th. So they're pretty in line there with Sports Illustrated and ESPN on where Amari Allen might go. Not a lottery guy. I did see Sports Illustrated had LeBaron Philon in the lottery. He's obviously gone. He's going to be close to a lottery guy or in the lottery. But Amari Allen is a guy that's going to have some thinking to do. He's looking like a first-round guy, but certainly not a guaranteed first round at pick 26 or pick 29. I don't see any lottery discussion for Amari Allen. So we'll see what kind of decision he makes. Brooks?
Ryan, yeah. So got a graphic going out in about an hour, roster tracker for Alabama basketball as it currently stands here in the offseason with the portal. They've got one guy confirmed to return. That's London Jemison. Still not sure. They have three guys with the remaining eligibility from last year's roster that they're still unsure of the status on. Aiden Holloway, and then a couple of guys on the bench that I don't exactly know how to pronounce their names. Bristow and one of the centers. But got six guys coming in from portal or freshman arrivals. So roster's only about halfway filled out at this point.
That's better than LSU. I haven't checked an update on LSU's, but they had exactly 0 on their roster last week for Coach Will Wade. So check Next Round Live on social media, Instagram, X, Facebook, Next Round Live, TikTok. Are we still on TikTok? We still TikTok, don't we?
Yeah, we still do some TikToks occasionally.
Okay.
It's a different style of content there. So, we post a few times a week.
Yeah, Next Round Live is where you follow all of that, Next Round Live. In the next hour, we're going to get to Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson was on not one but two podcasts and made a little news on both of them. We'll let you see what Ty Simpson had to say. And also Chris Lowe talking with the head coach of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, Marcus Freeman, about his future and what Freeman said about the NFL. We'll tell you that. And do 4 downs also in the next hour. A reminder, Hemp Hill Services there to take care of you, and they also bring you Lance's Lock, lanceslock.com for all the plays, even when Lance is in Europe, plays going up. lanceslock.com. lanceslock.com is brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill Services. If it doesn't run right, flow right, or drain right, Hemp Hill Services, the place to go. 205-229-2090, 205-229-2090. They've been taking care of Birmingham and the surrounding area for more than 50 years. They'll take care of you at Hemp Hill Services, 205-229-2090. And NASCAR coming back to Talladega.
It's time to go racing again. Over in Talladega, the Jack Links 500 weekend is coming up Friday, April 24th through Sunday, April 26th. The big race, the Jack Links 500, is that Sunday with all the Cup superstars on the world's fastest speedway. Exciting, unpredictable. That's what you always get with the biggest stars of NASCAR when they come to Talladega again for the Jack Links 500. And you can get your tickets right now by going to the TalladagaSuperspeedway.com, TalladagaSuperspeedway.com, or buy your tickets calling 877-GO-TO-DEGA. That's 877-462-3342. And don't forget to add on to your experience with the most immersive garage experience in NASCAR. That features access to the NASCAR Cup Series Garage Bay viewing areas, pre-race ceremonies, driver questions and answer sessions, and of course, Mobile One Victory Lane trophy and photos. You'll be up close and personal for all the action. It's Jack Links 500 weekend at Talladega coming up Sunday, April the 26th. Buy your tickets right now at 877-GO-TO-DEGA or TalladagaSuperspeedway.com.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
To everyone who craves a fresh meal made just for you, let our team member Jacob share what's special about Culver's.
In Wisconsin, our food comes from the heart, and taking the time to handcraft your meal with care is how we've always done it at Culver's. It's why your Butterburger doesn't touch the grill until after you order.
Come to Culver's and let us serve you a Butterburger made special just for you. From Wisconsin with love, welcome to Delicious.
At Central State Bank, we are large enough to serve you and small enough to know you. Manage your money with ease, whether it's mobile banking, hassle-free checking, competitive loans, business solutions, or personalized financial advice. We're your hometown bank with big-time service. Visit us today and experience banking made simple, because at Central State Bank, you come first.
Member FDIC.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090. Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
Birmingham, get ready to pregame with the Birmingham Legion FC at the Coca-Cola Soccer Block Party May 7th from 2 to 6 at Protective Stadium. Bring the whole family for music, giveaways, and tons of family football fun for free from 2 to 6 May 7th at Protective Stadium. After the party, the Birmingham Legion FC takes on Miami FC with kickoff at 7 o'clock. Tickets for the match are available at bhmlegion.com. Come kick it at Protective May 7th with the Birmingham Legion FC and enjoy ice-cold Coca-Cola because fan work is thirsty work.
When you think of Birmingham, it's hardworking people that go out each and every day to provide for their families, and that's how we want our team and our play on the field. Join us April 18th as we take on the Orlando Storm. United we ride.
Ain't no party like a Dega party. The noise, the chaos, the will to survive. The biggest, boldest, brashest, fastest, and most intimidating track in all of NASCAR. Only one place calls that home. At Talladega, anything can happen. And at this super speedway, everything usually does. Hell yeah, boys! NASCAR weekend at Talladega Super Speedway, April 24th through the 26th. Get your tickets now at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
We go to the final hour of the show. It's always presented by our friends at Champions, world famous fried chicken, championschicken.com. Sterling and the crew have thrown the doors open down there on Alabaster Highway 119, ready to serve you some great Mississippi Delta recipe tamales, those po' boys, the chicken, the great sides, the drinks from Megan, all that right there at Champy's world famous fried chicken, championschicken.com, championschicken.com, Champy's world famous fried chicken. I'm Ryan Brown. Lance is in Europe. Dunaway is on 30A. Do you guys think in the back room, Dunaway, given the choice, will go to Europe or 30A?
30A for sure.
30A.
I mean, he talks up a big game about wanting to travel and go to Europe. But
I think Big Ben would be bigger.
Why do they call it Big Ben and not just normal Ben?
I don't know.
It's like
So, something
Ben.
about me.
Medium Ben.
As big of a warrior as he is, I feel like it'd come down to it, and he would just
He'd go to 38, 100%. I'm with Tyler and Scott answered very quickly. You gave it some thought, Brooks, but you eventually came around. I think 38 is the answer. Roman Coliseum, huh? That's not an SEC stadium, I can tell you that. He wouldn't play an Iron Bowl in this thing.
A little rundown.
I mean, how overrated do you think Italian food would be in Italy?
It can't be overrated. I have never, ever heard. Scott, you didn't go to Italy when you were over there,
I did not.
I've never heard anybody come back from Italy and say, yeah, the food was mid. Like, everybody that comes back from Italy is like, you think you've had Italian food? You would not believe how good it is in Italy. And everybody talks about how fresh the pasta tastes and all those things.
Well, they're like wheat grows completely different.
Yeah, that's what everybody says. Like, you can taste the difference in the pasta. Like, you don't even have to be that trained, like some sort of culinary trained person to tell the difference. You can tell the difference in the pasta. I will one day know because I love Italian food, and I am going to Italy, and I am going to eat. I will eat my way through Italy. I may come back here weighing 500 pounds, but I'm going to eat my way through Italy one day.
Well, see, that's the thing. The wheat they use over there is supposedly like better for you, and so people come back and not gain weight.
That's the other thing I've heard is people are like, man, I went over there and ate my weight in pasta and didn't gain a pound. Now you're probably doing a lot of walking.
Probably don't know. What's the thing the term they use for American pasta that spikes your hyperglycemic index or something?
Yeah,
it's full of sugars and makes you super full and fat.
Yeah. I don't mind being super full.
See, but people say the same thing about pizza here. Like New York pizza, their water is different.
It is
different.
Pizza
is entirely different.
It is different.
Yeah,
the bagels. My wife's from New Jersey. The bagels are 1,000 times better
I would
out
agree
there
on
than
the
they
bagel.
are down here.
I don't think the pizza is that much more amazing.
In New York?
Yep.
Yeah, because you lived up there when you worked for Letterman, right?
I did.
Yeah. Did you eat a lot of pizza up there?
Not any more often than I eat it here.
Were you like Michael Scott was your favorite New York pizzeria, Sbarro? That's one of the good.
I don't think I ever had a slice of Sbarro.
That's one of the great seasons there. It's like, it's my favorite New York pizzeria. He goes into Sbarro.
I didn't hate it back in the Galleria days.
I ate a lot of Sbarro, but I mean, like if you go to New York, obviously you're not going to, but they still got them there. When I was out in Vegas a couple of weeks ago, they were building like it's smaller than this studio. In fact, it's significantly smaller than the studio. Sbarro, right on the street in front of, I can't remember what casino it was, or near the casino, just right on the street right there, Sbarro. It looks like it's just going to be a walk up and take away a slice, which will probably kill it in Vegas.
I've always been more of a Charlie's cheesesteaks guy.
From mall food? If we're talking mall food.
If you're going to go mall food, boardwalk fries. Do you ever have boardwalk fries?
I have not had boardwalk
fries. Are good back in the day.
The one random Japanese restaurant that's always in the mall that hands out samples.
Always
so
hands out
Manchu
samples. Yeah, Manchu Wok was very good. Was it Manchu or Manchu? Manchu?
I always say Manchu.
There was one in the
I'm from
Hamilton.
Alabama, so it's Manchu.
Oh, okay, yeah.
There was one in the Hamilton Place Mall in Chattanooga. They would hand out samples on toothpicks.
Oh, no, they did that all the time. And it was like the bourbon chicken or something like that. Heck, yeah. I'd always go by and get the sample. And for a while, Chick-fil-A, and look, I'm super old, so there was a time where your only access to Chick-fil-A was in a mall. They didn't have the standalones. They were, if they did, you just didn't have a whole lot of them. So they weren't readily available like they are now, where they're everywhere. But they would have the little pieces of chicken they would hand out, on the toothpick as well. And sometimes you're like, oh, man, I just ate Chick-fil-A.
For free.
For free. Off a toothpick. All right, let's get to Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson on some podcast here. We're going to start with David Pollack. This is the See Ball, Get Ball podcast. David Pollack has the former Alabama quarterback on, and he's talking about getting ready for the draft. And he goes back to this story that we already knew about, that Ty Simpson apparently was offered $6.5 million to play quarterback this year for the Miami Hurricanes, to replace Carson Beck and play for the Miami Hurricanes. Why did Ty Simpson say no? Nick Saban gave him a piece of advice. Here's Ty Simpson describing what the former Alabama coach told him.
At some point, it had to be some part of you that goes, man, like, was there a number that you finally went, okay, dude, I really want to be a Bama player forever, but was there ever a number that kind of, whoo, that's a big number?
I mean, yeah, I think the last offer, was definitely one that I just had to sit down and consider, because it would have been, life-changing money. It would have made me the highest, paid player in college, and it was something to where I was, I was like, all right, like I can't just ignore this. Like I have to sit down and think about it. And that's kind of, how I am. I have to, I don't want to do anything sporadic. I want to sit down and, think it all out. And it really just came down to, how I wanted to be remembered. And, what do I want to do? And I actually talked to, coach about this, Coach Saban. And, the things that, he was talking about were, all right, do you want to play football in college, or do you want to play football professionally? And he was like, take the money out of it, take the rounds out of it. What do you want to do next year? And without a doubt, without hesitation, I said, I want to play professional football. And he was like, well, there's your answer. It was something to where I've always dreamed of it. And, I felt that I was ready to take that next step and be the face of a franchise and lead a locker room.
I mean, technically, if you're playing for $6.5 million at Miami, you're playing professional football, because that's more than you're going to make in the first year of an NFL contract if you're Ty Simpson. But I understand what he is saying there is he wanted to play in the NFL. He wanted to play professional football. Take all of that off of it. I'm going to pull up mock draft. Here's what Nick Kelly, AL.com. He went and scoured all the mock drafts, okay? And he's got where all the Alabama players are expected to go. And Ty Simpson is all over the board. You can go see that at AL.com. Daniel Jeremiah, he's everything from teens pick to a mid-second round pick. Daniel Jeremiah, I was looking this morning at our buddy DJ. He's got Ty Simpson, the 36th overall player in the NFL draft. Slightly undersized, he says, of Simpson, but sound mechanics and touch and accuracy. Operated out of the shotgun a lot at Alabama. Quick feet in his setup. Marries his feet with his eyes to stay on platform as a passer. Has a compact delivery, enough arm strength to make all the throws. Has some issues with the pocket collapses. Gets sped up and the ball can take off down the field. Good athlete. Throws well on design boots and rollouts. His play did tail off at the end of the 2025 season. If you watched Alabama, you know that. That's not a surprise. But as DJ points out, he battled a couple of different injuries, which limited practice time, according to sources at the school. Limited starts for the NFL. It's just 15. That's a concern for some people. But overall, Simpson has the skill set to develop into a functional NFL starter. It might require some patience. That's Daniel Jeremiah, who I respect more than anybody in this. That is DJ's write-up of Ty Simpson. I don't know how much one more year at Miami was going to change that. If he took $6.5 million and went and played at Miami, he's not getting any bigger, so he's still slightly undersized. This will be DJ's opinion here. This is a guy that scouted in the NFL for a long time, so he's only parroting what he has heard in the NFL, right? He's got sound mechanics. Was that going to improve any? If they're already sound, maybe just a little, maybe marginally. Touch and accuracy, how much does that improve? If he's already got that at Alabama, does he improve that at Miami? Operating out of the shotgun. I think in Shannon Dawson's offense at Miami, Carson Beck operated a lot out of the shotgun. You're still going to do that. He's got quick feet in his setup. He marries his feet with his eyes to stay on platform. If you're already doing that at Alabama, you're going to do that at Miami. All these things he's mentioning, the only thing that Miami would have changed is this last sentence. He's got limited numbers of starts, 15, all in one season. That's a concern. At Miami, he potentially adds 13, 14, 15 more starts. Now you got a full data set on him. I don't know how much of those other things, though, he improves in his time at Miami. I know one thing that would have changed is everybody thinks that next year's quarterback draft is going to be a loaded quarterback draft. So are you better off passing on the $6.5 million, as much as he described it, life-changing money in that interview with David Pollack, passing on the $6.5 million and going to the NFL in a time where you got a shot at being a first rounder, or taking the $6.5 million and saying, maybe I'm a second rounder, but I've made $6.5 million in college football. I haven't really changed anything about the way I go play the game, but I've got $6.5 million in my pocket, and now I'm going to go be a second rounder somewhere. I don't know. It's a decision Ty Simpson had to make. He goes to Nick Saban. Nick Saban says, what do you want to be? I want to be an NFL quarterback. Well, then money's not going to change that. Go be an NFL quarterback. This is your chance. I don't know. We'll have to see. I feel like best option for Simpson is be in this draft, not in next year's draft. I don't know if any of those things DJ points out that he's going to improve at Miami. He only walks away with more games played and $6.5 million in his pocket. Not insignificant. But I think you're probably going to go higher in this year's draft. And if you play any amount of time in the NFL as a quarterback, and certainly if you're successful, $6.5 million in the rearview mirror is going to seem like very little. Now, he went on another podcast, and we're going to play a game of Did You Hear What Somebody Else Heard in just a second. But let me remind you of a couple of things. First of all, our friends at Coca-Cola want to remind you that the actual World Cup trophy is coming to Birmingham. You can go see it for yourself and get a free photo of the World Cup trophy with our friends at Coca-Cola, and it is coming to Uptown. Right there in Birmingham. You can go see it at Uptown and get your photo made. It is absolutely free, and it is Thursday, May 7th, 2 to 6. Free photo with the iconic FIFA World Cup original trophy, once in a lifetime for you. FIFA World Cup Trophy Tour is presented by Coca-Cola because fan work is thirsty work. And Lance tells us about our friends at Crane U.
Curious about a career in the crane industry? The first big step is getting certified and becoming fully compliant. And Crane U, our friends, they are here to guide you every step of the way. Crane U is your all-in-one destination for crane certification success. They guide you through every step of the process, from comprehensive preparation, both in and out of the classroom, to ensure you're fully equipped for even the toughest exams. Then they streamline your experience by administrating both the written and hands-on test right here at their facility, so you can get certified with confidence and convenience. For more information, craneuonline.com. That is craneuonline.com.
By the way, following up what we just discussed before we move on to more Ty Simpson talking on podcast, Jay Bake says that's why I think Trinidad Chambliss is insane for going back to school. He'd be a second-round pick this year, likely third to fifth next year. We'll see. I mean, we'll see what he does in a different offense. Charlie Weiss Jr. and Lane Kiffin now off to LSU, obviously. Don't know how much the offense will change for him. But it is fascinating to discuss because you're right. Chambliss would have been a higher pick had he come out this year. He's got more limited starts than Ty Simpson, at least on a big level. You got to go back to Ferris State for a lot of his starts. But keep in mind, he didn't take over to game 4 this year. So if they're worried about 15 starts from Ty Simpson, you don't have many more from Trinidad Chambliss. I don't think he started till week 4 and then went all the way, of course, into a couple of weeks into the playoffs. So you don't have many more starts from Trinidad Chambliss. They're high-level starts. But if you feel like you don't have enough SEC-level data to make a determination on Ty Simpson, how much more do you have on Trinidad Chambliss? So I kind of agree with Jay Bake. You just wonder what another year is going to do for him. I have no idea. One of the places, and obviously they're hosting the draft, but one of the places that Ty Simpson has discussed as potentially going is Pittsburgh. And as Daniel points out, Aaron Rodgers has taken his time with the decision. That can't be true. Obviously, that is tongue-in-cheek because Aaron Rodgers takes forever on these decisions. And it's not likely going to happen before draft night. Pittsburgh is probably going to have to go into this draft wondering if Aaron Rodgers is going to be their quarterback next year. So I assume if you're Pittsburgh, you just have to assume we're going to need a quarterback at some point. If Aaron Rodgers plays this year, it's probably only one more year. So if you like Ty Simpson, you go Ty Simpson. I think it's pretty simple for them. I think this is actually one of those deals where if Aaron Rodgers is going to hold me over the barrel, I am going to draft like he's not my quarterback this year, or he only plays one more year. And if Ty Simpson's the guy you like, you go Ty Simpson. If you think it's next year, you're probably going to have a wealth of choices next year by the time Pittsburgh picks. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what Pittsburgh does. All right. Ty Simpson also went on the Downs to Business. Am I saying that right, Scott or Brooks? Or Tyler? Downs to Business, is that right?
You got it. It's we workshopped some better names for the show.
I agree. Do they use the number 2? Is it Down number 2 Business?
They
okay.
do.
That's it. That's a Caleb Downs. So this is Caleb Downs and his brother. I said 2 Downs would be a better podcast. I think that's a better name for a podcast. 4 Downs coming up on this show. 2 Downs would be a better because there's 2 of them. But this is the Downs to Business podcast. This is going to be Caleb Downs. And what is his brother's name? I apologize. Anybody got his brother's name?
It's Josh.
Josh. Thank you very much. Caleb and Josh Downs. Ty Simpson talking to them. And we're going to play a game. So everybody listen. I want you in the chat to respond to this. And we'll go through the back room as well. Insult or not to the Indiana defensive coordinator. So insult or not, listen to what Ty Simpson says here. Tell me if you think he's insulting Bryant Haynes, the Indiana defensive coordinator, or not. And then we'll see if Bryant thinks he was insulted. Here is Ty Simpson.
I wasn't surprised when they won after they beat us. And then after we lost, we lost to both teams that were in the Natty. So I thought they were going to win that game. So I thought they were going to win that game against Miami.
Facts.
I didn't know how it was going to go against y'all.
I didn't see that, bro. I really I was like, man, Bama might
I thought
win
they might
this.
have won against Bama, but I didn't think it was going to be like that.
Bro, so from my point of view, right, like, I'm sure it's different from Caleb's because he was on the defensive side, but I was like, they don't do much. Like, they do the same thing for every down. And so when I got the ball, I knew exactly what was going to happen. And they just didn't mess up, bro. Like, they were in the exact same spot they were supposed to be, and they were so well coached. It was so much different than the SEC. Like, in the SEC, you got, they'll play man, they'll do these unorthodox coverages, because it's just like, it's kind of how it is. But, like, that game was crazy to me. Of course, I got hurt, so it was that was a bummer. But I knew what they were going to do, and we couldn't really run the ball. We didn't really throw. It just was it was so crazy to me how it happened.
All right, so there's the soundbite. I'll start with you, Tyler. Insult or not to the Indiana defensive coordinator for the Alabama quarterback, who Alabama got destroyed in that game, to say, I watched on film, I thought I knew what they were going to do. They really didn't change anything. They're just so fundamentally sound. They don't make mistakes. They're impossible to beat, even if you know what they're going to do. Insult or not?
No, that was a compliment. He was saying that the execution was perfect every down.
That's what I heard. Scott, insult or not?
Not, but he is calling them a little vanilla, I think.
He is saying that a little bit.
But isn't that, but I would just say.
He's saying they do vanilla really well.
That's right. But isn't that good coaching? Like, I don't have to compliment it.
I'd rather have a solid bowl of vanilla ice cream than a mediocre bowl of any other flavor.
I would agree 100% with you on that.
Exactly the point that I made on X was that they didn't have to do anything exotic. I mean, like, as a coach, how great is that when you don't have to do anything exotic? You're so damn good at what you do that you don't have to do anything. And, I mean, they had a pretty basic offensive game plan in that game, too. They ran it down Alabama's throat, and they couldn't stop it. I think they threw the ball maybe like 22 times in that game.
Didn't have to throw it once, probably, to win that game.
Yeah, it was not a very complicated scheme on either side of the ball, and they didn't have to do anything complicated.
Brian Haynes is the Indiana defensive coordinator. So we asked Brian Haynes, compliment or not, Bryant? He took this as an insult. On social media, adorable, he says. Like, if you're talking about something a football player said and you call it adorable, you are 100% taking a shot there. Like, there's nothing Brian Haynes could have said after that where you're like, well, maybe he's not really taking a shot at Ty Simpson. No, he starts with the word adorable. We also, saw everything they were doing, on every single snap. It's just that we exploited those cues and didn't get frozen and crushed by them. Adorable, he says. Like, Brian Haynes, I think, was legit insulted by this, and I think Ty Simpson gave him one of the greatest compliments he could give him.
How do you win the Natty, but one of the teams that lost lives in your head rent-free?
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
Yeah. I'm with you, Tyler. I don't think I would let this kind of stuff bother me, but there again, I'm not a coach. So, by the way, here's what the chat room says. Hey, it's Rambo. Furthest thing from an insult. When Levy breaks, total compliment. The guy won a natty and is acting like something else. Caleb, he knew he was going to happen, but he couldn't prevent it. Yes, that's what Ty Simpson is saying. Daniel, he's clearly stating what he thought going in versus what happened. Where's the insult? Keith, sounds like he's complimenting the coaching and sound players. Rusty, that's a compliment. He's saying they played sound and disciplined ball. When Levy breaks, we knew what they were doing. They just kicked our ass is a compliment. Bradley points out that Caleb was shaking his head in agreement with Ty. He's like, yeah, I know I'm on defense. Same thing I saw. Jay Bake, they were just so well coached. Samuel, clearly a compliment. Haynes is soft, even if it was an insult. It's above him to comment on it. You're a grown adult, bro.
That is true. That's another thing.
I would agree, yes. Now, Michigan Manifesto, Michigan fan says, if I'm Brian Haynes, I could see it as an insult to my scheme. There again, I understand what you're saying, but to me, it is a compliment of coaching that you don't complicate it more than you have to, right? Isn't that good coaching? Like, I've got better players than you, and I think we can go out and play a perfect game and not make mistakes and whip your tail, so that's what we're going to do. Why would I complicate it anymore? Why would I get exotic if I don't have to? That's poor coaching to me.
Well, yeah, and like why? I mean, the game was already in hand. You've got, potentially 2 more games left in the playoffs. Why would I show more of my playbook if I don't have to?
Exactly.
I mean, Alabama did the same thing against Cincinnati in the 2021 CFP game. They did nothing offensively except run the ball down their throat with Brian Robinson.
Because they didn't have to,
Yeah, exactly. It's the same idea. Sadly, Alabama, that's the state they were at in that game. But, I mean, that's the reality of the situation. Why? I mean, maybe they did show more exotic schemes against Miami and Oregon or whatever. But,
compliment to me. That sounded like a compliment. But what do I know? Sounded like a compliment.
I mean, is he taking it like because the scheme is vanilla, anybody could have done it?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's taking it like, look, their defensive coordinator doesn't do a whole lot. He just puts his guys out there in position, and they make great plays. I don't think that's what Ty Simpson was saying
I don't think that's what he's saying either. I'm just, trying to interpret the faux outrage.
Yeah, I guess if I'm a defensive coordinator, I look at that like, wait a minute.
Well, he came back and doubled down.
Oh, he doubled down on this?
Yeah, he said that's all it took to break the entire Alabama fan base. Wow, maybe I should have just said boo in quotations. No apologies, no compliments. Grow up, folks. He had a bad take, and I said the painful truth. Bounce back better.
This is a sitting defensive coordinator?
That's cringe.
He's the Broyles Award winner.
I know. He's acting like Skip Bayless on Twitter all of a sudden.
Giving you brutal truths.
Yeah, the brutal truths. I mean, this guy's is he doing a talk show or running a Big Ten defense?
Yes. I mean, and then there was other members of the coaching staff. I think the assistant defensive back coach had a comment too, which is like, okay,
oh,
who
wow.
the hell are you?
Yeah, so everybody's weighing in.
Oh, and their whole fan base. I was in a fight with them all
weekend.
I've
heard. Well, there you go. So everybody here is like, what a compliment to Indiana. Indiana's like, what are you doing? Why are you saying that about us? Give us the respect we deserve. That fan base is going to get old, by the way. I'll just go ahead and tell you.
Oh, it's already gotten old.
Oh, I know, but it's gotten old around here. But the rest of the country has not been they've not been introduced yet to this Indiana fan base. If they continue this, that fan base is going to get old.
Oh, I've seen enough of them on the Clips channel. Every couple of days, I'll get a notification saying we got a new comment on the breakdown of the Alabama-Indiana game.
Is that before or after the game?
It's after the game.
Oh, okay.
And,
we didn't give them enough credit?
They'll just be like, haha, Indiana fan here, Indiana alumni here. I love seeing Bammers cry.
Big alumni base, by the way. They'll tell you that. Where do they find that TNR Clips page? Where do you find that, Tyler?
Yeah, you go to youtube.com/@TNR Clips, or you can find it on the TNR YouTube homepage. I've got it in a section right at the top above the live show.
All right, there you go. All right, Inverness Country Club bringing you part of the show today. You can be a member at Inverness Country Club, just like we are here on the next round. Just get in touch with our friend Aaron, ICCalabama.com, ICCalabama.com. That is Inverness Country Club, and Erin will take care of you. She'll get you a tour there so she could show you what you can appreciate about Inverness. And let me tell you what you could appreciate. Great clubhouse, amazing food, fun golf course, world-class resort-style pool that they've got there that will be opening up very soon. They're just refurbishing their tennis clubhouse, so that is on par to be one of the best in the area. I mean, my gosh, everything to love about Inverness Country Club. So why don't you join? I mean, that's all that's waiting, right? Inverness Country Club, ICCalabama.com, ICCalabama.com. Tell Aaron you want that tour of Inverness Country Club. And Way to Wellness from Jim Dunaway.
All right, guys, there's a great way to simplify your weight loss in 2026 with my friend Leslie and her board-certified team at Way to Wellness. Visit their website, aplanforme.com, and you'll find out that Way to Wellness has a personalized plan that works and is designed specifically for you. No cookie-cutter plan. Everyone needs something a little different. You may want meal replacements. They've got injection therapy. I use protein bars to keep from bad snacking between meals. The website, again, is aplanforme.com. They have diet plans for diabetes, heart disease, sleep apnea, and a lot more. And listen, there's no contracts, there's no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free. Go check it out. The website, again, aplanforme.com. It's Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living.
Follow Brownie on Twitter and Instagram at Ryan Brown Live.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
To everyone who craves a fresh meal made just for you, let our team member Jacob share what's special about Culver's.
In Wisconsin, our food comes from the heart, and taking the time to handcraft your meal with care is how we've always done it at Culver's. It's why your Butterburger doesn't touch the grill until after you order.
Come to Culver's and let us serve you a Butterburger, made special just for you. From Wisconsin with love, welcome to Delicious.
At Central State Bank, we are large enough to serve you and small enough to know you. Manage your money with ease, whether it's mobile banking, hassle-free checking, competitive loans, business solutions, or personalized financial advice. We're your hometown bank with big-time service. Visit us today and experience banking made simple, because at Central State Bank, you come first.
Member FDIC.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood. Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090. Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
When you think of Birmingham, it's hardworking people that go out each and every day to provide for their families, and that's how we want our team and our play on the field. Join us April 18th as we take on the Orlando Storm. United we ride.
Ain't no party like a Dega party. The noise, the chaos, the will to survive. The biggest, boldest, brashest, fastest, and most intimidating track in all of NASCAR. Only one place calls that home. At Talladega, anything can happen. And at this super speedway, everything usually does. Hell yeah, boys! NASCAR weekend at Talladega Super Speedway, April 24th through the 26th. Get your tickets now at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com.
All right, we're about to do 4 downs. I got 4 questions for the back room because I am solo this week with Dunaway in 38, Lance in Europe. Lance may join us. I don't know. I've got to get his itinerary of nations. He was like, let me know if you want me to come on, like if I've got a good backdrop, like Swiss Alps or something like that. He's on a European river cruise, which I have always wanted to do that. I'm very jealous of Lance. And the story behind this is pretty remarkable. Is the reason, and I don't know if he wants to tell the story. That's why it's not some crazy story, but how this actually occurred. And it's the reason he and Jim are off at the same time. It was unavoidable. That was not the initial plan, but how we ended up on this river cruise is pretty funny. But I have always wanted to do one of these European river cruises. I see the commercial on ESPN all the time, and it just seems fun to me. Scott, you've been to Europe, but you were only in England primarily, is that right?
No, we did.
Well, I couldn't have been more wrong then, huh?
We did do England, but we also did Paris and actually did a little boat trip through Paris.
Oh,
it was cool.
I bet. Which one did you like better, England or France?
I thought the food in France sucked, at least where we went.
Most people say the exact opposite about French cuisine.
Well, it was like a predefined.
Oh, you're
part
one
of
of
the
those
tour.
deals.
Like,
yeah.
There was no you don't get to order your own stuff.
Yeah.
It was not the way to do it. But stuff still looked cool.
Yeah. I mean, the Eiffel Tower is going to look the same whether it's pre-ordered or not, right? Did you like the Eiffel Tower? Big as you thought it'd be?
Yeah, it was cool. We waited like 3 hours to go up in it.
Oh,
but,
seriously? Is it worth the wait? Or is it just better looking at it from the ground?
I mean, it's one of those things you had to do. But I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it.
Yeah. 3 hours, that's a long time.
It was a long
longer than a Disney ride, 3 hours. Have you ever been to Europe?
I have not left the South, so I haven't been up north in the U.S. or out west or out of the country.
We got to get you moving, Tyler.
Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah. We got to get you moving. We need to send you on some trips. If you'll just lose a bracket bet occasionally, in this room, you get to go on some of those crazy trips.
Oh, dang it. I just have to eat hot dogs.
You got to eat hot dogs
here.
and drink beer. Hemp Hill Services brings you part of the show before we get to 4 downs. Hemp Hill Services, the place to go if it doesn't run right, flow right, or drain right. Hemp Hill Services is the one that is on call. Listen, we're about to get those hot days. A little mild today in the south, but it's going to get those hot days. And when it does that, you want to make sure your HVAC is ready to go up to par. And you can do that with our friends at Hemp Hill. Get it checked out now before it's a 95-degree day and your AC's out. Have them out, let them check it out, and make sure it's in the proper working order for this hot summer in the south. 205-229-2090. That is 205-229-2090. HempHillServices.com. And 4 downs presented by our friends at Central Alabama Asphalt and Construction. You ride around the roads of Alabama and you see the major state government and municipal roadway projects across Alabama. You're probably looking at a crew from Central Alabama Asphalt and Construction doing that job. But that might tell you they're too big to do your smaller job, like a driveway or a parking pad or a parking lot for a church or a community center or something like that. That is where you're incorrect. They've got an entire division dedicated to those exact types of jobs. Same crews, same quality, same no excuse standards. Central Alabama Asphalt, client-oriented, quality-focused, built to deliver. Get an estimate on your job, 205-349-0910 or centralalabamaasphalt.com.
First down.
All right, around the back room here. First down, we started talking Oklahoma today. Dusty Dvoracek was on the show with us, talking Oklahoma football. When I say Oklahoma football, the first face that comes to mind is, the face of Oklahoma football is?
Adrian Peterson.
Ooh, okay.
The Boz.
The Boz, great sheriff, great linebacker.
This will be a little bit of a demonstration of my age. Baker Mayfield.
It's not bad, though.
It's not bad. That's the purpose of asking this question. You can go a lot of places. Nobody said Barry Switzer, legendary coach. You go with him. Troy Aikman was only there a limited time, but still he played at Oklahoma. The Boz, I
would go probably Bob Stoops second.
Bob Stoops. I mean, you got a lot you can pick from. Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, very good quarterback there.
Jalen Hurts,
Jalen Hurts. That's why I did this, because you could.
Former Oklahoma quarterback Jalen Hurts.
I know, but you could go. I mean, he's as much quarterback as Troy Aikman, probably more so than Troy Aikman was there. But you could go a lot of ways with that. So I was curious as to which way the back room would go. All right, next.
Second down.
All right, Georgia football. We talked some of their spring game as well. Now, I want you guys to think through this, okay? Scott, this is going to hit home with you.
Oh, good.
More wins as a starting quarterback. Gunnar Stockton, in a full season, you get every game, not just regular season, every game he quarterbacks this year. Or the combo of Alabama quarterbacks in the NFC South. That's Tua and Bryce. Now, let me tell you, their win total is the same, 7.5. So there's 15 games there, right? But here's the caveat. You don't know how many Tua's going to start. That's why this is the question. So more wins, full season Gunnar Stockton, or regular season Tua plus Bryce?
I'm going to take the Bama quarterbacks in the AFC South. I think Panthers made some strides last year.
They did. They got better.
The NFC South is still not super strong. I'm not buying the Bucs long term to keep winning that division. And I don't know. I mean, the Falcons have some pieces around quarterback. It's just
they do. They just don't have quarterback.
They just don't have a quarterback.
So, and you don't know how many of those games is going to be Tua. That's the trick to this question here.
I mean, I could see Tua maybe stringing together 2-3 wins, and then the Panthers maybe getting to 8 or 9 wins, and I think that would be more than what Georgia would have this year.
Okay.
I'm going to take the same side of this, and I think it's going to be Bryce carrying the
He's
the
going to
load
get
there.
most of the wins.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, their biggest win total, both at 7.5, so 14, 15 wins for the two teams combined. I don't think Stockton will get to 14 or 15 wins, but I do think you get to 12 or 13, so it becomes interesting. And that's even if Tua makes all the starts. That could be that number.
I'm going Gunner Stockton. I don't trust Tua to start all those games.
You shouldn't. As a Dolphins fan, you shouldn't. You shouldn't trust him to start 16 games.
Ron, how much would it break your heart if
he tears it up and they win a Super Bowl?
Tua went and pulled a Ryan Tannehill in Atlanta?
Well, now Tannehill, obviously, they had some good teams, but they never won anything of consequence with him up there.
They didn't, but I mean, if you would have, when he left the Dolphins, did you expect him to have any sort of success?
I've got a number of Titans friends, and they've come to my house and watched football games before, and they were all excited about it. And I was like, be excited all you want. You're going to get a lot of wins, and you're going to get to the end. You're going to be like, what have we really won? And that's exactly what happened. Like
one AFC championship game.
That was it. And look, as a Dolphins fan, I'd love to be in an AFC championship game. But I told them, I was like, he's just good enough. And I saw this in Miami. He's just good enough to bait you into thinking, hey, we got something here. And then you get to the end, and you're like, nope, we didn't have anything. And that's exactly what happened with Ryan Tannehill in Nashville.
Third down.
Celebrity birthdays today were awful. Awful. Not sound like Lance, but they were. I did find this one, though. Crispin Glover turned 61 today. Really only known for his role as Marty McFly in Back to the Future. I don't know what else Crispin Glover has done. So I ask you, your favorite Back to the Future character, best character in Back to the Future is who? Tough question, huh? There's a lot of good ones.
I'll say Doc Brown.
Doc Brown's fantastic. I mean, every time I see him, I only see that character, and I don't know how much more he's done.
He was Uncle Fester in the Addams Family movies.
Did not see that. Yeah, he was primarily a director after that, though, wasn't he? Didn't he direct some stuff? Am I wrong about that? I guess I am. Sure. I could be wrong about that.
Can I count the car as a character?
That seems like you're.
As a kid, I haven't watched that movie since I was a kid, and that was always the thing that stuck out to me about that movie was the car. It was always fascinating. I mean, I'm talking like 5-year-old.
A lot of Doc. Nick with a Doc Brown. Samuel with got to be a Doc Brown.
I would probably agree with Doc Brown.
Yeah, I think Doc Brown is the best character.
Wow, we're gonna go 3 for 3.
I'll go Marty's dad just to be different, and because I think the hey you get your damn hands off her is a funny line.
Yeah, that is funny. No love for Biff. I thought Biff was fantastic in that movie.
Biff's great too.
What a great character. And that was really his only role. I mean, it's amazing how many, and not Leah Thompson that plays the younger mom, but his girlfriend, I cannot say her name. That was her only role too, wasn't it? The girl that plays Jennifer, I think is her name.
Yeah, so
Claudia Wells.
Claudia Wells in the original film, and then in parts 2 and 3, portrayed by Elizabeth Shue.
That's right. I knew Elizabeth Shue took over, but in the first one, it was a different actress, and that's her only role. Like, there are a lot of, as classic as that movie is, there are a lot of people that was it for them. I mean, really, outside of Michael J. Fox, Leah Thompson had a pretty good career, I guess. I mean, she was in some sitcoms and stuff like that, but outside of Michael J. Fox, it wasn't really like a star maker, that movie.
Nope. Tom Arnold was in Freaks and Geeks later on in the 90s, which was very well received and critically acclaimed, but that was only one season.
Yeah. See, I think Biff is my answer.
Hey, there is one celebrity birthday that you missed, though.
Who?
The head ball coach. It's Steve Spurrier.
He's 81 today, isn't he?
That's crazy. I think that he's that old.
Yeah, I know. I think he's 81, the head ball coach. I saw that. It was not on famousbirthdays.com. I did see it later on today, though, Scott. But that is not fourth down. We did not do Steve Spurrier for fourth down.
Oh, Jody Colley brings up a great best character in the chat. Marvin Berry.
No, it's his cousin.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's Chuck Berry's
Chuck Berry, that's right.
cousin, Marvin Berry.
Yeah, but he has to clear it up on the phone. Chuck, it's your cousin, Marvin. Marvin Berry. Everybody do the math now. I'm talking to Chuck Berry. I'm like, I don't think you needed to clear that up. I think we do.
Fourth down.
This day in 1993, New Kids on the Block formed. Give me a boy band song you like more than you should. Or a boy band you like more than you should.
I mean, I grew up on the Backstreet Boys, so I mean, like, I was in like I don't know, kindergarten through third grade during their heyday.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of Backstreet Boys being pumped out by my girl cousins during that time. So
Okay, so you're a Backstreet Boys guy. I mean,
yeah,
like,
I know like all the songs.
You're not even ashamed to admit it. Tyler, boy band song you like more than you should.
I'm struggling because I was not a Backstreet Boys guy. That was a little bit before my time. Wasn't into NSYNC. But I will go with I Want It That Way because I saw a funny video of a guy working on the mental illness ward in a hospital, and some of the inmates started singing it from their rooms at 2 a.m. It's a funny video.
Is it? I mean, what are they? Is it just like, what, are they acting something out?
Nope, they're just singing, and the orderly is filming.
Yeah. This is legit. I mean, this is
legit.
real.
And then the orderly start singing with them.
I want to know. Okay. All right. Scott, boy band song you like more than you should.
I don't know that I like it at all, but I can still hear it in my head. That Bye Bye Bye.
In Sync.
Yeah, In Sync.
Yep.
I worked at a music store in the Galleria, back when that was released, and we had to do it might have been like a midnight opening to
for that album
for that album when it dropped.
Midnight release at Coconuts.
It was Sam Goody.
Sam Goody.
Oh, okay.
The music video was pretty.
Oh no!
Great
Yeah,
with
the dance,
the puppeteer.
Yeah, yeah. And the dance still lives today.
And everything was chrome.
Yeah. What about Mbop by Hanson? I'll admit that I like that song a little more.
They still tour.
Oh, I know. My wife saw them. Was it last summer? I think she saw Hanson. And she's like, literally, they did Mbop twice, and then a bunch of songs I had never heard. I think they were at Workplace.
They're one hit wonder for sure.
Yeah.
I'll say best song by Backstreet Boys, in my opinion, is Larger Than Life. That's
I love that you know all these Backstreet.
Yeah, you gotta go.
Brooks knows the deep
catalog.
cuts from the Backstreet
Brooks has
Boys.
got the
I grew up
B-sides.
with 4 girl cousins that just were obsessed with them, so it was just blaring all the time at my grandmother's house. So.
All right, that's 4 Downs presented by Central Alabama Asphalt and Supply. Hey, a reminder, the Birmingham Stallions didn't go well for them Saturday. They're looking to bounce back. They'll do that Friday night. Back in Birmingham, Stallions football, Birmingham versus D.C. at Protective Stadium. Enjoy $3 beers and $3 hot dogs. Tyler, you could do this for $54. $3 beer, $3 hot dogs. That's $27 on the beer, $27 on the hot dogs.
I mean, I could.
$54. You just do it at a Stallions game. Kickoff is at 7. You do it at 7 o'clock. So it's night. You don't have to swelter in the heat. Get your tickets now, UFLstallions.com, UFLstallions.com to go see the Birmingham Stallions take on D.C. at Protective Stadium. Let's wrap with Lane Kiffin here. Now, I cannot think, even though they coached together and had success together, it did not end well for Lane Kiffin with Nick Saban, but he has been, by and large, gracious towards Nick Saban. He's made some jokes about him, but generally when he talks about Nick Saban, it is only in the most complimentary of terms from Lane Kiffin. We have talked many times, whose shadow is he coaching in at LSU? And frankly, it may be his own shadow. But you can't say that he's coaching in the shadow of any of the 3 coaches before him because they were all fired. Les Miles, national championship, fired. Ed Orgeron, national championship, fired. Brian Kelly went to the SEC championship game, underwhelming, fired. So it's hard to say he's living in those 3 shadows. With one shadow before that is Nick Saban. It's a long time ago. But here is Lane Kiffin, and I have not heard the question. I don't know if this is why he's talking about it, but he's talking about becoming more like the guy he once worked for, Nick Saban.
I think more from him comes, I find myself now like, the obsession of winning, the obsession of every day of like, there's got to be something that we can do better. And I find myself like that, and I think maybe now our coaches get a little annoyed with me, maybe like I did him. And it's like where you're kind of never pleased. I find myself like that. So that really what I feel taking from him is more than that, really the different position. But in that, you look at everything. Could this guy play somewhere else? Could he do something else? Like there's got to be a way to play better than we did yesterday, and to practice better than we did yesterday each day. And I mean, that's why I'm here all the time, trying to figure out some way of something we can do better.
I mean, I would have to say it does feel a little contradictory to say that and also be the character you are on social media. Like there are people that are like, you can't be daily consumed only with winning and only with getting better and also spend as much time on social media as you do. Which is one reason I'm not certain everything that is on that social media account comes from him. I think maybe some other people are pitching in on that. But I also don't know that they're mutually exclusive, that you can't do a little bit of tweeting, you can't spend some time on social media and also be wholly dedicated to winning. It can't become a distraction, obviously, and perhaps at times maybe it hasn't been a distraction to him, but it's been a storyline that becomes a distraction for his team. So I would say it is counterproductive if that is the case, but it may not be. I find it fascinating that is the one thing that he takes away is that I am going to do everything, because what he just said about Nick Saban is the thing that makes Nick Saban the greatest that has ever done it, ever, period, end of sentence, because that guy was wholly consumed with winning football games. It's what he thought about all the time. It's why he was at the facility all the time. He was just completely wholly driven to build the best football team he could build, to win the games he could win, and to win championships. And the thing that made him great is there was never a day, and this is hard to do in life. I don't like living this way, and I don't live this way. But Nick Saban did, that every day you don't celebrate what you did that day, you start working on tomorrow. And that's what Lane Kiffin is saying there, is like, hey, we had a great practice. Hey, well, we did these 3 things wrong. Let's make those better tomorrow. Let's don't ever just get to the end of the day and say, that was a perfect day. Let's celebrate that day, and tomorrow will take care of itself. Nick Saban was always thinking about that next step. Nick Saban was the guy that was on the plane home from a national championship game, already recruiting for National Signing Day, not taking time to stop and smell the roses. I'm a stop and smell the roses guy. I like to occasionally just stop and say, man, that was a perfect day. It was a great day. Let's celebrate that day. I'll worry about tomorrow. But I'm also not a $10 million college football coach that's got to win a national championship or I'll lose my job. And that's where Lane Kiffin finds himself at LSU.
Ryan, do you consider Lane to be an elite coach? And if not, what would he have to do at LSU to be an elite coach?
Well, I mean, honestly, I think he's got to win a national championship there. I don't know that I consider him an elite coach. I would say elite is a very small group right now.
He's paid like an elite coach.
He is, but a lot of guys are. I would say elite right now, certainly Kirby Smart. Dabo Swinney is interesting. There was a time he was an elite coach, but it has certainly slipped. Marcus Freeman, who today talks to Chris Lowe and said that numerous NFL franchises kicked his tires in the offseason, but that he's got the Notre Dame job. And as long as that job is what it is, he's not interested in the NFL, which Notre Dame fans would be like, man, I love hearing that. I would think you would put Marcus Freeman among the elite, though. They didn't make the playoffs last year. That was a weird circumstances that kept them out, but he's already coached for a national championship. I think you've got to put Ryan Day there. But I do think it's a short list, and I would not have Lane Kiffin there. I mean,
Kurt Signetti, you hadn't mentioned him yet.
I'm not. God, the Indiana fans are going to hate that, aren't they? You got to put him there. I mean, he's coached for a national championship and won a national championship. I would not put Lane Kiffin there yet. No, I don't think he's elite. But if he wins a national championship at LSU, he's taken Ole Miss to the playoffs, though he left, and he's won a national championship at LSU. I mean, I don't know how else you could say anything but he's elite. If he just goes to the playoffs at LSU, maybe not quite yet. It is a bit complicated with him because he does so many things off the field where you say an elite coach doesn't do that. But then on the field, by and large, he's delivered. And he certainly did last year. We'll see if he can at LSU. Everybody else that's been there has. So we'll see if Lane Kiffin can. That is going to wrap today's show. Our final hour, as always, presented by our friends at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken, champy'schicken.com, champy'schicken.com. Sterling and the crew there serving up a great lunch for you at Champy's. Those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales, the great po' boys, chicken fingers, great sides. The drinks slung by Megan behind the bar there. You can enjoy that at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken. Tom Luganbill going to do some co-hosting with us tomorrow. So those of you that love college football, Lugs will be with us. Don't forget all the additional programming we have right now. If you missed the last call, Jake and Mick talking about the Alabama spring game, you can go get that on demand at Next Round on YouTube. Also coming up, so you got a last reels. I guess you and Lance going to take a couple of weeks off since he's out in Europe for a couple of weeks?
Yeah. Gonna take this week off unless, I don't know, Scott, do you want to go over Forrester's favorite flicks sometime this week?
Yeah, it's put like Scott right there on the spot right there. I do like the alliteration of Forrester's favorite flicks, but
they wouldn't be very current.
I mean,
it doesn't matter.
You talked old movies last week, didn't you? Or 2 weeks ago? Didn't you talk some
we
old
talked
movies?
movies from the 30s, the 50s, the 60s, and the 2020s. It
See,
doesn't
there you
matter.
go. Forrester's favorite flicks. I kind of like the idea. Maybe get me in there and talk about the movies I've actually seen. I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
It's a very short list.
Let's do a Tarantino breakdown with Brown.
Yeah, not a big fan. Tarantino, not my guy.
That would not go over well. But we do have LT and I's 5 favorite concerts up on the channel now, as well as underrated crime movies, the 10 most anticipated movies of this year, and our 10 favorites of last year.
And the OG Football Podcast, and It Just Meant More with Connor and Will. That is up right now on demand. So you can get all of that right there on our YouTube channel. We appreciate you joining us today. We will see you tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Have a great afternoon. Thanks for being a part of the next round.